Keep moving on. Keep moving on. And they say I have a grim sense of humor.
This harness will guide us through dangerous night. It humbles the foe with its grace. The thornmail will help us prevail and survive. Our deadliest fate we embrace.
Being at scouting grounds means mainly being able to prove both to myself and to other teams what I'm fully capable of. I think I stack up pretty well against the other mid laners.
3 months ago, I was only an observer of LCS, but now I'm actually at the stage itself. I think the fact that I'm one of the youngest players here is both an advantage and a disadvantage. I don't have as much experience as other players, but that's something that can be learned and taught. I think I can have the most potential out of all the other top laners.
If I can beat this rookie, then I would feel like I'm qualified to playing like the Pro League.
I'm pretty happy that I was given another chance. Even though I did get removed from Golden Guards Academy, it wasn't gonna stop me from eventually becoming one of the best AD carries from North America.
I put off trying to become a pro until after I graduated college. Now that I've graduated, becoming pro is my main goal. Being drafted as the third pick, there's definitely a lot of pressure. I went from being like the underdog to now having a lot of expectations from people. I hope that I could be one of the best performing junglers at Scouting Grounds.
There's a lot of competition for upcoming spots in LCS and Academy, and so I need to prove that I deserve to not only be at Scouting Grounds, but deserve a spot there.
Hello and thank you for joining us for the 2018 North American Scouting Grounds, coming to you live where players are preparing for their debut on the LCS stage. We've seen players at this event go on to finish top 4 at Worlds and even claim victory at Academy Worlds itself. Accolades around.
Yeah, there's
Exciting?
a lot. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
You gonna intro us?
I will. I was looking for it said ad lib react. I was waiting for you guys to say something. It didn't actually. I'm lying. My name is David Freak Turley, joined by Mark Zimmerman and CLG Academy's Otto in the bot lane. How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm excited to see how these Scouting Grounds players show up on the LCS stage. So.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the next crop of hopeful NA talent to see who's gonna make it in
NA
Academy.
talent.
Yep.
That's what I love.
Otto, formerly Zag, formerly
For, I don't know.
of Scouting Grounds fame.
Yeah.
Now, of course, today marks the conclusion of Scouting Grounds, and the matches taking place are the culmination of a year-long journey for the players on stage. The top prospects for each role earned their spot at Scouting Grounds by remaining in the upper echelon of players in North America, earning themselves points based on position in solo queue across 8 checkpoints throughout the 2018 season. The top earners were split into their roles, and after applying rules for being a one-trick and behavior checks and other requirements, the top 4 eligible players in each position were invited to a week-long boot camp where LCS teams would test these players in team environments. And of course, this is now who we have here as they got drafted up.
Yep, and they played through some pickup games where they were kind of mixing all the players around. They did some interview with the coaches who are here from LCS orgs to help with the event, and then eventually those orgs were able to draft the players through the Drake Mountain draft system, and they all ended up on different teams, so they then played a number of best of threes, double round robin over the course of the week to get us here.
Yep. How was that for you last time around?
Well, I think for us, 2016 Scouting Grounds, we only played one. It was like one round robin, and it was. I think it was still BO3s, but with these guys, they've gone a lot of games here. It's only a week, so obviously you're not gonna have like perfect team play or anything, but you know, it's just like all around to see how well you can do in a team environment. Just, I mean, they get to play on stage now, so maybe some people are really good on stage. You don't know really, so.
And some choke and get like deer headlight syndrome.
Some might be shaking right now on stage, so.
All right, things to watch for. Now, of course, one of the coaches building up this solo queue talent is Cloud9's West Rice, who caught up with Ovly to share his thoughts on this year's event so far.
Thanks, guys. I am here with West Rice, both Cloud9 Academy's coach and today Team Cloud's coach. Now, last year in Scouting Grounds, Cloud9 went ahead and swept up all the top talent. So what do you think of this year's amateurs?
I mean, there's a lot of good players this Scouting Grounds. And right now, we have Cloud9 as an org. We have a strong 10-man roster already, but Cloud9, we're always looking for players that are hungry, looking for players that, you know, want to prove themselves, and, you know, just good players all around. The players this year are pretty good, actually. There's a lot more fresh talent.
Did they meet up to your expectations that you had for them coming in?
Yeah, I mean, there are some players that came back from, like, other Scouting Grounds. Like, there's players that have showed up in Scouting Grounds for like a couple years now, and you know, it just seems like they're getting better and better as the years pass. And you know, there's a bunch of new players too that are impressing me as well.
And this year, you're working with more organizations. You're working with other coaches in terms of kind of taking your team and developing them over the week. What was your role this week?
My role was mostly, set these players up for success, meaning give them the right tools, give them the right champions. So I was mainly doing the draft for these players and explaining to why these champions are good. And I was working with Peter from TSM mostly, and he was doing the team reviews mostly. So I think C9 and TSM have been working well together, giving these players more insight from different organizations. So yeah.
And again, looking back to last year's Scouting Grounds, Cloud9 somehow found like all the perfect pieces to come together and even take Academy World. So, what are you looking for in a player in terms of who's ready to make their way into the big leagues?
Um, just mostly players that have a great lane phase. I mean, if we want to be really specific, it's just players that have a very, very strong lane phase. Like players that don't know much about the game, that's not something we're concerned about because that's something that we can teach them, you know? But something that we can't teach these players is how good they are mechanically. And if they stand out, if they win lane phase every single time, but they fall short mid game, we're not too concerned about late game or mid game. We're looking very closely on how they get advantages on their own. So people that stand out a lot without being coached is something that we're looking closely at.
Well, West Rice, thank you so much and wishing you the best of luck in today's games. That's it for us here. Back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Avli and West Rice. So the drafted Drake teams faced off in the group stage matches over the course of the week, with Infernal Drake taking first place at 5-1 through the double round robin BO3. You can see the rest of the lineups down here. They'll be facing, of course, Mountain in the finals. Ocean and Cloud having slightly worse results here. And of course, those results will give us our matches today, where Cloud and Ocean Drakes will face off in a third place match decider, followed by the final between Mountain and Infernal Drake. And of course, the seeding left to right is pretty accurate there as well. So I'm kind of curious if there's any predictions you guys have or anything you're looking for in these matches.
Well, I mean, talking about Ocean and Cloud, since that's the first one up, kind of hoping Ocean shows up a little bit more here. In their best of threes, even though they were 0-6 in series score, they did pick up a couple of games. So I'm sure all of these players are very eager to turn things around and end the tournament on a win.
Yeah, I mean, they're 0-6, but they can still grab third place. So,
yep.
You just got to win.
Yeah, but of course, Ocean Drake, coached by Liquid, I mean, it just has to be, you have to get fourth. That's just how that works. So, in the first match, let's take a look at some of the players we have our eyes on and curse them as so doing. On Team Ocean, there is bot laner Jurassic and jungler Metaphor. And on the other side of the rift, for Team Cloud, we've got a spotlight on their jungler Obese Panda and support Winter.
Yeah, and Jurassic, you heard it kind of in the intro, was a former Golden Guardians Academy AD carry player, and it's looking like he wants to go out there and prove himself again as still a great player. I know that we had heard that he had taken what happened with Golden Guardians very seriously, and he wants to reprove himself here at the Scouting Grounds as one of the premier marksman players in the North American region.
Yeah, I mean, that guy is usually top of solo queue, Jurassic. I usually see him pretty high rated in solo queue, so. And he's been playing for a while now. I remember when I started to want to go pro, like I remember him by like my side, so let's see like how he does. I'm sure excited.
Yep, of course, Metaphor making his first trip to Scouting Grounds as well. Has been high rated for a while. They're making his trip out. It's going to be one to watch for. Hasn't had quite the results maybe people were expecting. This is his sort of one of his good games on Nocturne, but it's been a rough road for most of the Ocean players.
He was definitely one of the most looked at players in terms of mechanical skill coming into the tournament, just overall ladder ranking. But like you said, Ocean as a team has struggled to find some wins, and a jungler will always be one of the worst positions to play for in a losing situation. So hopefully people don't look too far into the team result and can still look at his play.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a lot of what this is, right? Like, there's going to be some times where you don't show up, or like in this Ocean's kids are 0-6, but
yeah.
I mean, the coaches aren't looking exactly like on wins exactly. They're looking for if you're coachable, your base like mechanics, because there's a lot that can be taught through coaching.
Yeah. It's something we've talked about on LCS where like a team will be in last place or whatever, and be like, but you can still look good for the next season to like make your case. This is literally the result where you're like, it actually doesn't matter if you win. You're only making your case for coaches for next season and see if you can make an academy spot. So that's one to watch for. Of course, on the Cloud Drake side, Obese Panda was the #1 pick jungler overall in the draft by the TSM C9 group over on Cloud.
And he said that he had wanted to finish his schooling up before he really gave his shot at pro, which is why I think teams took a higher interest in him now that he is kind of dedicated to this opportunity.
Yeah, I actually remember like 2 years ago or so, a year ago, I used to duo with this guy, and you know, I don't really have anything bad to say about him. Like, he's really like tilt-proof, like really just good, genuine guy. Like he has a good mindset as well, from what I've heard. Like, he's really open to learning. He's learning fast as well. So
yep.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do.
And finally, Winter there, support for Cloud. Has been around here for a while. It's his 3rd time at Scouting Grounds now at this point, but hoping that he can kind of get above Scouting Grounds and get onto an academy team, you know, and stick around.
It feels like he's kind of taken on this gatekeeper status where he is by far one of the best players at the support position in North America, which is why you keep seeing him show up at the Scouting Grounds, but it feels like he's struggled to punch through recently, and he is kind of this boss in a lot of ways where if you want to get onto academy roster, you need to prove you're better than him, and himself trying to prove that he is still that guy.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is, I think, he was there when I was in Scouting Grounds. I think did he play Academy?
He played a challenger for C9 at a couple times, and I'm not sure if he played in I don't think he was playing when Academy was there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I remember playing him against
Off the
him
Academy,
in
apparently, he had a couple.
I remember playing him like at least once. I was like, yeah, I mean, I think some of these players are for sure like Academy level. I don't think, obviously, no one's gonna expect them to be LCS level, but some of these players for sure can like get a chance in Academy.
Cool. We'll see if that happens, of course. Now it is time to send it over to the casters to get us into our very first game.
Thank you, Freak, and welcome to the final day of the 2018 Scouting Grounds. I am Julian Patriot Carr, joined by young casting upstart Aiden Zyrene Moon.
Yep, I have risen, I'm awake, and hopefully if I do well today, maybe I can make Worlds next year.
Well, we're getting ready for our first best of 3, which pits the 3rd seed Cloud Drake versus the 4th seed Ocean. We'll run ourselves straight into the starting lineup. Starting on the blue side, it is Team Ocean, looking for a little bit of redemption. In the top, Ethereus. In the jungle, Metaphor. In mid, Julian Hay. In bot, Jurassic. Support Diamond, and their coach for this go-round, it is Dodo.
And facing them on the red side, it's going to be Team Cloud. In the top lane, it's Jenkins. The jungle is Obese Panda. Mid is Five Fire. Bot is Sophist Sage. Support Winter, and coach West Rice.
And as we've seen, it is kind of fun to watch a lot of these different players develop. I had a chance to watch quite a few of the earlier games in the week, and generally it's just fun to watch these players kind of try stuff, and the games have been pretty fast-paced, so I am hoping for some, ooh, those are some bold sunglasses.
Yeah, I like this mid lane matchup. It's Julian versus Five Fire, but it's Julian versus Aiden.
That's true. His real name is Aiden.
So obviously my favorite player on the Rift right now. He's got those shades going, but Five Fire, we'll talk about him for a second here. He does lack experience, but a lot of people are saying he can be a really good player. He's pretty much not played competitively except for the last year, and he's up against Julian, who has a decent amount of competitive experience, having played for Florida State University 2 years ago, and last year playing for Columbia College, formerly under the name of Zatzmod, if people would remember that far back. So the mid lane matchup is one that I'm interested in, but that jungle matchup as well, with the first pick jungler of Obese Panda, and then the guy that people expected to be the first pick jungler, the best jungler here in Metaphor. So that's what I'm looking at, is that jungle mid here, and if they can work together, because Scouting Grounds, you want to look good. Doesn't ultimately matter if you win or lose the game, but you do have to kind of do your job or else you'll get called out.
Yeah, certainly have to demonstrate that you have been learning throughout the week. It is a relatively short process, but let's see what we have in store for the draft. Now, of course, Jenkins is on one of the teams, so Cannon is the ban on the other side, which is the first there, and then Akali also going to be taken away along with Aurelia and Thresh.
Yeah, people don't know Jenkins, formerly Bob Jenkins. If you just Google his name and you put LOL afterwards, because you don't want the other Bob Jenkins, you'll see like Kennen guides where it's like the best Kennen in the world, etc. Like, this guy knows how to play that pick. It's also flexible, where we've seen it picked in mid lane, and there's a lot that goes on in Champion Select right now. The Akali being banned away, but also things like Lucian. When I was looking through the games, Lucian and Victor have jumped up pretty high in terms of priority for people. Lucian is almost 100% pick ban throughout the Scouting Grounds, because people are just looking for no longer my favorite player. There's something wrong with Aiden.
So we have to restart Champ Select real quick, because a monitor turned off, I believe. But it's funny that it was his monitor, because the joke I was going to make was that maybe he just can't see because he's got the sunglasses on.
No.
But apparently his monitor actually turned off. It's not the eyewear he is currently sporting. So we'll get that fixed up ASAP and get ourselves back into Champ Select. But I have to agree, again, as far as patch goes, not near the preseason just yet. This is kind of the last bastion of the patch we've come to know and love throughout the year, I suppose, of League of Legends. But if you have been, following Worlds and watching games, then honestly not that much is different. Maybe some small evolutions here and there, but for the most part, the patches were really light touches kind of after Worlds.
Yeah, when I look at things like champion pools and what can be played, it's very, very flexible right now. And I really liked what West Rice had to say, and also what Otto parroted on the desk, was that you're looking for mechanical skill, winning lane, doing your job, and being kind of just good at the basics of League of Legends, and then the rest can be taught. And it's funny because you were talking about how West Rice, underneath Reaper, it's a classic Reaper coaching style, Just give me good players, I can turn their brain on and let them use it and allow them to use it. And right now, I think the meta kind of will showcase that. Top lane right now is a lot of Victor. There's Aatrox. There are some mages like Kennen and Lissandra running around too. But of course, you do have your tanks like the Urgot and the Scion. But then jungle is pretty much Xin Zhao, Nocturne, Graves, Olaf. You have very aggressive junglers coming out. Camille, same thing. And mid lane, I think a lot of mid laners are actually thrown off by this, where you do have your Syndra and LeBlanc. But if you are normally a control mage player, you now have to pick up Aatrox, Aurelia, and be good at these types of assassins like Akali on top of it. So if you're not a mechanically skilled player, it's going to show even more at this scouting grounds. But of course, everybody here is here because they were top of solo queue. They were at that top of solo queue for a long time because the challenger, the scouting ground point system, where you had to be consistent, right? You had to be at the top of challenger for multiple months and accrue those points to get here. So all of these guys do have at least knowledge of the game at a high level and a way to play it in solo queue. But does that translate? Do they have the mechanical skill that these teams are looking for when they try to pick up aspiring pros?
And I think mid lane is a very interesting clump of players here at this event, just because they're actually all pretty much control mage players, and they're all pretty close to each other as far as point totals go. So they were clearly very consistent throughout the season as kind of those points were accrued moving in towards scouting grounds, but they played a lot against each other in the amateur scene. Some of them are even on the same team, I'm pretty sure, something in and out from mid lane. So there's clearly a lot of experience between them, and there is an argument that maybe control mages are a little bit more consistent as far as climbing goes, right? So if you're trying to play safe and just get, LP, which I think is a lot of the goal in a lot of cases, you can do it that way. But you're right, this is the kind of event where you will be tested on your skills on multiple fronts, and it is difficult to, maybe learn something that you're certainly not as used to, especially when the environment is so different from something like solo queue.
Exactly, and the control mages, like you said, they will kind of have a higher win rate overall. Assassin win rate usually tends to be a bit lower. They're riskier, but in professional play right now, they can take over the game very quickly, and they do a high amount of damage and have access to it very early on. And if you pair it up with the aggressive jungle picks that are coming out, you'll win a lot of 2-on-2s if you're alongside a Xin Zhao or a Graves. So you do kind of have to add those champions to your arsenal. I know there have been some concerns around a lot of these mid laners' champion pools. And if they can pick up those champions, especially in this relatively short time where we're seeing more Aatrox in the mid lane. We're seeing some people even play the Lissandra and the Kennen very recently in the last month or so since Worlds. So that's what I'm looking for here from those mid laners is have they adapted or are they going to go back to those control mage styles?
It's interesting in that, in competitive, it often benefits you to play safe, which I don't think is necessarily the case here at Scouting Grounds. I think it is still play smart, certainly. I think that's something that you want to be doing wherever possible as we are going to kick ourselves back into Champ Select. But, take some risks, do something flashy, do something that maybe other players wouldn't do. Because if you're trying to show off and kind of sell yourselves to a prospective future team, that's a good way to do it on this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Be able to not showboat, but show that you can take over a game, show that you can win your lane.
Play a hard matchup, play a mechanically intensive champion, play something you're not comfortable with. Ban Braum, which has actually been as far as metagames go, and again, it's been a very short amount of time, Braum has shown up a lot, apparently, just of his early power, given how fast and furious a lot of the games have been. And there's Xayah as that last ban away from Jurassic, so pretty stable AD ban there.
Right now, there's a lot open. The Aatrox, the Urgot jump up, the Alistar and the Lucian, same thing. Alistar, I like this being taken away. I believe it's one of the champions that, kind of now jumps up in terms of priority, because when you think of the support pool, Braum, Thresh, Alistar are usually the top ones that you'll go for. And then now things like the Morgana kind of come out. And really, there aren't too many tanks left after that. You kind of go Rakan or Pyke if you're looking for something that's melee again. But yeah, Braum, Thresh, Alistar are usually your top three here.
Yep, Leon is playable, but not really in this kind of situation necessarily. She's more of a niche pick, so...
Yeah, usually against Xayah and Rakan.
Well, there's Kai'Sa locked in, and it's going to be Urgot joining in, which of course can flex to either solo lane. We'll see if it is going to go somewhere else. But as you mentioned, Lucian has been on the rise.
Yeah, I actually fully expect the Lucian to be locked in here. This champion has been pretty much taking over the scouting grounds. People popped off on it, and then they started to go ahead and ban it almost every single game. And I'm surprised not banned this game. And that's one of the differences that you'll see from Worlds is that Lucian's presence is incredibly high right now.
So is this one also. Victor kind of only saw play during the tail end of Worlds, but people quickly adapted to how strong the pick was, and despite some touches, has remained very strong at this go-round, and of course is flexible to boot. So a nice little second and third pick up there for Ocean as a Rumble pick here from Cloud. Going to mix it up quite a bit.
Well, also you have to keep in mind that Victor is also a flex pick, not necessarily top lane, can be played mid by Julian as a control mage. So now both Cloud and Ocean have themselves some flex picks here, but you would expect that Cloud is going to put the Urgot in mid lane and the Rumble in the top lane for Jenkins, since that's a champion that he was favoring even just yesterday when these teams played each other, and it was a 2-1 in favor of Cloud.
Well, there's a Talia ban, so one jungler lost there for Metaphor, and a good aggressive one at that. Also, Morgana going to get taken away, which is kind of what you expected, given the early support pick, and that there has been a pinch here as far as that role goes.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking at junglers going, Graves is up, Xin Zhao is up. There's actually a lot here available for both these junglers. You may have to go after the cream of the crop here, and Ocean may just either ban away something like a Pike here and just push the support champion pool even further, maybe Rakan. Or you just go and like kind of knock off either the Graves or Xin Zhao, or you just trade those 1-for-1, which I think they will go ahead and ban a support here, because you can just trade the junglers and get a good top tier one yourself for Metaphor.
Well, 5 seconds left. We'll see what Ocean does decide here. Certainly taking their time as the draft is winding down is Tom Kench going to be banned away, so removing some safety there for this Kai'Sa.
Interesting that they would go for that. I feel like the Rakan and as well as the Pike are both fine to play. I think you go ahead and lock in your jungler here unless you're worried about a matchup in particular.
I think you have to protect
actually.
I was going to say I think you have to protect your flex pick, but I guess they're just going to probably complete bottom lane as far as that goes.
Yeah.
There is Shen locked in. That's the most likely position left for him to play, but of course there is still some flexibility.
Yeah, I don't know how much an Urgot support would help you out, but we'll see what ends up happening.
Rumble
here.
jungle, baby.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Rumble jungle back in the day, for sure. But there's been a lot of hovers here. You can see Metaphor saying, even though Xin Zhao is up, even though Graves is up, Camille is up, the Nocturne is what they are going for here. And I think that's potentially because they don't want Shen plus Nocturne on Cloud's side. So it's a half takeaway here, but also it's a champion that Metaphor had played earlier and had his best game of the Scouting Grounds on.
Certainly, again, maybe just looking for comfort here to kick things off. See what Ocean's last pick is here. They got 5 seconds left, and it is Dr. Mundo. So kind of a tank we haven't seen too much of recently, but it's certainly playable.
But it does mean it's a Victor mid, and Julian will be on that control mage up against what's most likely that Urgot at the mid lane. So the Victor was played primarily top lane with Kleptomancy, and it was kind of a replacement for a Jace where you can shove lane, push people out level 1, level 2, and then you have wave clear fallback pattern. You can burst people even if you're behind, because as soon as he reaches a squishy, we've seen what Victors can do to pour little AD carries as soon as they walk up, even if they're losing the game. Burst damage can come out, and you still have to worry about that here, though, from this mid lane. And will this be an Urgot top and a Rumble mid for 5-Fire? I would expect them to swap. You have until 20 seconds to actually lock in your picks completely.
Everyone should be aware of that. But, of course, last pick was Camille here for Cloud, so with the jungle pool pretty much wide open with that Nocturne pick. Looks like the more aggressive of the two between Zen and Camille, although they're pretty close as far as aggression goes.
Yeah, Camille, I would say, is a little bit more on the gank mid early side, and if you can go after the Victor, that might help you out here. And combining the Shen alongside it, good delivery tool, but it will be a Rumble mid here with an Urgot top, so it's not a swap here from the side of Cloud.
That's really interesting. I mean, I think in part, you pick Urgot, and as soon as you see Victor, you're like, yeah, I'm getting out of that matchup at the Urgot. So I guess they were just willing to play wherever the Victor wasn't with the Urgot.
Yeah, a lot of flexing around here, because now the Rumble mid is what we have to see, because we talked about champion pool kind of issues for a lot of these mid laners. Can they play a versatile style? Well, now we have Control Mage versus a Rumble in the mid lane, and the Victor is going to win this matchup because Rumble is melee. They're going to play for wave clear. They're going to play for whoever can get to that gold spike first, where Victor starts to wave clear, and Rumble will be able to deal a lot of damage and overheat himself. But right now, once again, watching that mid lane, watching that jungle here in particular in this matchup. But this bottom lane is going to be one where I feel like Ocean, they have a leg up here with the Lucian.
I mean, you have to think so. Drafting a pretty good aggressive bot lane there. Have to see if Tarasa can show off, because again, that is something he's been looking for as far as getting himself back into Academy and beyond. Well, teams will move out here for the first time in this series. I've seen quite a lot of level 1s early on in Scouting Grounds. We'll see if we have any more shenanigans lined up here. But
Yeah, on stage though, you pull it back a little bit.
I know.
You know, just pull it back just a tiny bit, fan out. make sure nothing happens, because you want to be able to get to that mid game. It's just like in a lot of scrims where if a level 1 happens and your goal wasn't to have like a good level 1 or anything like that, you're just like, well, this game is kind of useless because now there's like a 3-0 Nocturne running around because of one mistake, and now we slowly bleed out of the game. But here, they don't want to have any of those high kind of variance plays happen where they could have the game kind of blow up in their face. But it is a best of 3 on the stage here.
Minions have spawned.
First laser struck in mid lane though. 5fire will get poked down. As a note, you mentioned Kleptomancy, of course, pretty common for Victor in a lot of melee matchups, but does have Airy this time around to kind of accentuate that poke. And an early sweeper here from Panda. He's going to move that ward that they saw, so they're going to move around, try and find some people with a cleaver, but not going to get any additional info. Although given the current positions, it's pretty easy to figure out that Camille's starting on red buff.
Yeah, Camille's starting on the red buff, especially with the Mundo in the top side, just waiting in the brush. And I believe that experience from the ward was split 3 ways. I believe that'll give you the level 2 for both Jenkins and 5fire on the first wave. So as soon as he gets those 6 minions down. Oh, it starts with the E, nice.
Yeah, nice bit of poke there from the Comet, which is Rumble's keystone here in this game. And then kind of a different top lane matchup, Mundo versus Urgot. Haven't seen this tanky of a top lane in quite a while, but get some action on the bot side. Winter with a taunt, does find Jurassic. Good Q there from Sophos Sage.
Yeah, really good there from the bottom lane. We were talking about it earlier. The Lucian will have a lot of pressure up against this Kai'Sa, and especially the Shen versus the Alistar. And Obese Panda walking straight through mid, and there's the gank. Yeah. That's what you get for queuing him. This is Scuttle to Scuttle, by the way. So you go kill the Scuttle, and then you walk across mid, just flaunt it, and then that was the gank.
That's actually a pretty good trade. I mean, that's one of those ganks that's so obvious that you never think it works, and then somehow it works.
Yeah, that's he did red into Scuttle, into going for a potential gank if he was too far forward. Got spotted on a ward. He still went for it anyway. Then he goes for the other Scuttle, and I believe that actually gets him 3. I don't think that normally gets you 3 unless you sweep, because it's so close in experience to you almost ding. I believe you have to get the sweeper to do that, to get 3 camps like that.
Yep, makes sense why the sweeper was a good early start here. Now onto the blue buff as both junglers pretty much just clearing full throughout the rest of their camp. But of course that Scuttle advantage will go over. Winter though, knocked up and poked down by Jurassic.
Actually, I take back what I said. He walked across mid, leeched experience. The classic jungle move. That's right, to get yourself to level 3.
It looks like he's helping you. He's actually just taking your XP.
Yeah, I make a conscious effort not to do that, but it does actually help you a lot when you're going for the level 2. Just kind of dip in to see, can I get this kill? Can I get a gank off?
So far so good here. Rumble up in CS and pushing the wave in with the Flame Spitter as Metaphor does find a ward with the Scryer's Bloom. Level 4 double buffs. Time to go back and keep farming the jungle.
Yeah, you want to talk about farming though in that mid lane. 5fire up 10 CS already. It feels like it's been kind of slim pickings here for Julian, who got that tiny gank off on him where he had to back up and give up some of that CS. But that's because the Victor would shove the Rumble in. And then ooh, good dodge there to the side from Winter.
Nice double pole here from Diamond, chasing down Sophos Sage. There's Ignite, they're going to go all in, looking for that first blood. But forward, the heal burnt out. He's going to keep him alive, but Sophos Sage likely forced back here.
Yeah, good E there from Jurassic to just avoid the taunt and then the immediate counterattack. But that's more Summoner's Blown on the side of Ocean. So if everybody just resets, kind of walks away and comes back, then you can make a big play here on the bottom side on Jurassic and Diamond.
Yeah, Diamond again going back in, trying to prevent Winter from freezing this lane. Unfortunately, isn't going to have too much luck, although that cannon getting tower aggro will help. As Kai'Sa is running back down the bot side to try and grab the farm. Jurassic, though, takes his back. Does have that Vamp Scepter now finished. Looks like Blade of the Ruined King first.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe just wants the early Vamp Scepter.
Yeah, it's the usual build from the Blade of the Ruined King into the Black Cleaver, into going for something along the lines of a rapid fire cannon. But it's that 1-2 item power spike here for Lucian that he kind of goes for. Whereas Sophos Sage, it looks like it'll be the Storm Razor for him.
Not expecting too much differentiation in Kai'Sa builds. Things kind of standardized out when she was played all the way through Worlds. And back in topside here, farm nice and even, but right now Urgot does have the shove here into the top lane, but window farming is happy times for him.
Yep.
Fire with his early Sork Shoes, trying to get real aggressive here.
Yeah, and I was talking about it where if you can give the Victor a bad back before he can actually get his E upgrade and have that aftershock component to it, then you're in a great spot. And yeah, he wasn't able to afford the prototype hex core update. But look at this. Ooh.
Oh wow, not even going to finish the ward because of the headbutt. Very creative there from Diamond. Does protect the vision there for a little while longer, and Winter takes some damage, but other than that, bot lane looks like it's pretty much even out despite some of that trading. We'll see if that down flash does get punished later on, as Firefire already 6 here with the Ignite. Potentially looking for an all-in, especially if he can call the jungler over, but I imagine Julian will do his best to avoid that.
Yeah, Julian about to hit 6 as well off this wave, but he does not have that extra damage for the wave clear because he was CSing so poorly and the wave was half frozen on him during the gank. And then underneath the turret, wasn't able to actually get those last hits, which means a lot because otherwise he would have been able to afford that upgrade because he got himself boots and the Dark Seal. And if he was able to be pretty much at the same amount as Firefire, he would have been good to go. But here we go. 3 people mid, Obese Panda looking for Julian.
Hookshot does land. Actually, the stun lands now. The flash forward, but the Ultimate Rumble going to cut off the escape. Placer running forward, but Julian, he actually gets the first blood. Obese Panda taking too many turret shots, and now Firefire, he's so low on health. He's running back down towards the bot lane, but he's got no friends at all in the neighborhood. Here's Diamond roaming up into the red side jungle as the next Harpoon
Here goes
misses.
Metaphor.
And Metaphor just going to swoop in and collect the freebie. Oh, good flash. There's the blast going to try and get his way out, but Metaphor, he pops the ult just to make absolutely sure.
I don't think you have to use the flash there, but okay, yo. It looked pretty good for a second there. Metaphor with the level 6, though, before Obese Panda, which is big, because if he didn't have that, he may have had to blow his own flash to catch him. We'll see this one more time here. Julian with the great turnaround. Because the Rumble ultimate is a bit off and he no longer retreats, you see it go down, he says, okay, I'm turning this around. Julian walks forward, he has the heal, and then almost gets Firefire on top of it. If the Victor ultimate had pulsed another time, it would have been a kill. It would have been 2 there very quickly.
Instead, Firefire tries to roam around with the fancy feet. He does get the TP here from the top laner, but Metaphor is just like, hey, buddy. Bye, buddy.
Ooh. Yeah, the fact that he had hit level 6 was huge there, because you saw Camille running around level 5 still, didn't have the Hextech ultimatum for that last play, but Metaphor hitting level 6 and having that just kind of one more camp up on him in terms of speed was enough to get him to that point for the paranoia.
Yep, as a result, bit of early goal there, traded over to Ocean, and with that extra kill, they will be ahead by a few hundred.
Yeah, and on top of that, that also helped Julian a lot, because Firefire cleared the wave, had to run around the jungle, which is the time that Julian is respawning. Julian gets back to mid earlier than him, and now they're only 5 CS apart.
Here's Panda again, though. Hextech ultimatum onto Jurassic. They're going to dive down. It should be a pretty free kill as Winter is able to claim it. Obese Panda does get stunned, but the tower does not latch again. Diamond, unfortunately, not able to get the trade.
Yeah, it was very close to having that fully stacked E for Diamond, and then the auto attack. I think he used one of his autos while it wasn't completely stacked up just yet, and wasn't able to stun him in range. But very, very close there, just a little bit off, but you can see Jurassic, his flash is coming up in a few seconds, so that's that gank timer we were talking about. Because Jurassic and Diamond went all in on Sophis Sage earlier, they don't have their summoner spells for this play right here, where Winter, he had his flash still. The flash, even though Jurassic gets an E off, it's not enough right here. Even though it's fully stacked, he doesn't have his auto timer up because he went for one punch right before that, and he gets saved by the heal there from Sophis Sage. So the aggression that came out from Ocean, completely punished there by that play, and was good from Winter to hold his flash in the previous time that they had actually engaged.
Yep, again, 2 level 6s on the junglers and 2 kills on either side with them. Certainly expecting them to stay pretty active around the map as we check back in here with the top side.
And I like Jenkins' first buy. The Executioner's calling here. This was something that I think I only saw like Mundo into Olaf. And hold on, here's the TP flank. He knows there's no Mundo TP to match. Another gank on this Lucian.
Deep TP, Jurassic again, the target. He's going to get put into the meat grinder real soon. Not even needed as Jurassic shot down by the Urgot. Now it's Diamond that's getting chased. Urgot still with the ulti. He's going to let it go. He does find the latch, but Unbreakable will keep him healthy enough.
But they get a flash out of him again, and that's huge. That TP is going to pay off big, but right now, you're going to see Firefire. He has to go to the top side of the map to go ahead and clear that wave and rotate. I like this. He's actually covering a wave and making sure that Mundo can't get out scot-free and might actually get a kill here.
Oh, but Harpoon misses, but there's the equalizer. Again, going to try and chase him down. Firefire almost able to find himself something. Ignite is good. He needs a little bit more damage, though. He's overheated. He's silenced himself, and Mundo is now healing back up and chasing. As he even procs Nullifying Orb.
Yeah, it looked like he came in with a little bit more heat than he wanted to and wasn't able to proc it immediately. But it was good from the from the top laner there to actually get out and hold on.
Yeah, but he's planning to
Face
check something. Rightly so. He's going to get out of
Wow!
with the ulti. That's so much damage! Nocturne with a solo kill.
And that was a slick spell shield in there too. He was on top of Obese Panda, who went for the hook shot into, instead of rolling away, rolling into Metaphor to try and stun him and then retreat, but he had that spell shield up right in time, so he's able to get his own fear tether off and get that kill.
The reason people were talking up Metaphor before the tournament started, certainly a player that can come up with plays like that. Here's Jenkins zone mid lane, finds us slow with the Q. Firefire gonna dive his way in, but another good ult by Julian. That might be enough for the kill, but not it, as Jenkins able to finish it off before the last pulse happens.
And you could see just the amount of damage that was coming out from that Victor almost was enough there to finish off Firefire. And Firefire is now down in CS, almost 17 here. And the Victor was the one who was behind. Julian was the one who was struggling, and now he has the second highest CS in the game.
Yeah, he was average of about 10 CS behind in that lane, and now has moved that back up to almost plus 30 if you consider the loss he's made up as well. Cloud Drake also went over to Team Cloud, because, you know, that's how it works here at Scouting Grounds. We fixed it a little. So for Sage and Winter also trying to get a push down. Still first turret gold on the way. And Panda will rotate down just to make sure they get it first.
Yep, and this will be enough because he rotated down that they'll finish this. And Metaphor doesn't have the ultimate, and that's going to be that first turret going over to Cloud.
To be absolutely clear, the Drakes are exactly the same as they are in every other patch, but it is funny to me that Cloud Drake did get their mascot to kick things off.
Yeah, I was about to be like, yeah, that's why Infernal and Mountain are in the finals, you know?
Drakes are better! Are they though? Everyone loves a Cloud Drake siren.
Do they?
I do.
I'm not going to have this debate. I like Infernal.
Break! When you get back, you know what to do.
Yeah, no.
Defend the glory of NA Cloud Drake. All right, back to the game. I'm going to see a standard rotation here from Cloud. Going to move the dual lane up towards the top now that they do have that first turret already taken down. And as far as turret health goes, on the Cloud side, actually looking pretty good across the board. So Ocean don't really have an obvious point to attack with Drake down. Going to have to play in that long lane here for quite a while.
Yeah, and the fact that they had that Lucian Alistar, I feel like you're just going to swap it. There's nothing to play for on the bottom side with the Drake down. Swap to the top side. You can see Winter already of that mindset, and the same with Sophis Sage. But the Lucian was supposed to be a power point for them. They picked it into the Kai'Sa. It got ganked twice. Even though they almost killed Sophis Sage earlier, their Gambit didn't pay off. And so the reverse pressure here is helping Cloud out a lot. And now Ocean kind of had to rely on that mid and jungle. But look, Diamond.
Yep, permanent go button here from Camille. A wonderful equalizer down the choke point, and Diamond is going to get burnt down here. Shen commits the ulti to try and protect it, but Winter left out to dry will be shut down by Metaphor.
Yep, trade to the supports. You guys are just warding, going in for the engage, and they're the ones who end up dying there. I think the kill once again went over to Metaphor, so he's 3-0. Whereas on the other side, there's a 3-0 Jenkins running around in the top lane. And then there's that 2-1 Shen. Winter kind of picking up some kills himself. But right here, Diamond sweeping, looking for those wards. Doesn't quite get the hook shot from Obese Panda, but that's a great equalizer that prevents Ocean from backing him up. And right here, we're talking about that 3-0 Jenkins.
Got a 2-level lead. Looking for the ulti, but can't quite find the angle perhaps. Again, Fire in the mid lane, getting aggressive, but Julian dancing around. Does have 2 upgrades now from that Hex Core. Is 1 away from the final form of that item.
Yep, and gotta watch out for the taunt flash from Winter that could be coming out here as soon as this flash comes up. And I just looked over and I was like, why does Urgot have clarity? He's just using that to, he'll pop that for the mana and just kind of cycle his Summoner Spellbook. That's one of the things about Summoner Spellbook people don't always consider is you get that lower cooldown the more you cycle them. So just go ahead if you have the TP on cooldown, you can't bring Exhaust or Ignite, go ahead, swap out for the clarity, keep yourself in lane a little more. That's exactly what he did there.
It's funny because I don't really see that Summoner spell even on ARAM.
Yeah.
Not that many people even take it there.
I bring it on ARAM every now and then. But then every time I bring it, 2 other people in my game decide to bring it too. It was like, we were all helping.
What's better than one person giving everyone mana? 2 more people giving everyone else mana.
It feels like it's overkill at that point.
I agree with you, but as you said, it's just cycling through there for the spellbook, so it is fun to see clarity.
Yeah,
getting some love.
Take it on some champions that you don't take the Mark Dash on, right? Like, if I'm Mark Dashing on Lux, I'm doing something wrong.
Let's take Ignite.
Or I'm doing
That's
something
like
great.
trying to kill people. As Julian has completed the final Hex Core. But Firefire investing heavily, as Rumbles often do, into that early magic penetration. Actually going Morello first here, which isn't that common anymore.
Yeah, but kind of needed up against the Mundo. Having multiple sources of grievous wounds is big. And it's funny because you even see Jenkins going for the Executioner's Calling for the lane phase, but Sophis Sage, I don't think he'll end up with an Executioner's Calling in his build almost ever. There's only one person he would really hit, and that would be the Mundo if he gets a full upgrade. But right now, fighting over that Rift Herald.
Metaphor has ulti. I wonder if he feels like going back in. Diamond is going to go in for a really good combo to start off the fight here. Damage is down. Victor ulti pulsing away as 5-5 gets dove on and killed by the Mundo. Here's Jenkins diving back in to try and find a trade kill. Rift Herald resets aggro as well, as Jenkins is left out in the pit to die to the rest of Team Ocean. A shutdown grab there as well. And finally some revenge.
And Ocean finally find a good fight for them where they're able to group up. A lot of that, I gotta say, is off the back of your boy Diamond there. The guy played about 3 years ago on TSM Darkness in the NA Challenger Series. Since then, he's been pretty invisible, took a step back from playing at the highest level, the semi-pro level. You know, he's been here and there some LAN tournaments, but you're seeing that this guy still has those honed in senses of when to go in, where is the fight, and you'll see it right here with the Alistar, where Diamond comes up, sees that they're clumped, everybody is approaching, he goes, there's the mask of the ultimate from Metaphor, and there's the headbutt pulverize onto 2, and it pulls the Shen into him as well, and then this fight just ends up being this topside fight for 1 kill, a fight in the pit for another, and then this third one onto Jenkins to cap it all off. Gets Ocean exactly what they need in this game. And Ocean Drake, they've been struggling, man. They're 0-6 in their matches here at Scouting Grounds. They went 3 games against Cloud yesterday, but if they're able to take this, that's kind of, you cap off your Scouting Grounds with a win, with exactly what you want. We were saying it doesn't matter if you win or lose. I think for Ocean, morale-wise, you could be like, the week has been completely worth it. The 0-6 was just towards growth. It's like the whole lose is improved thing. The win for them, I think, actually definitely matters here because they haven't had one in this entire
as
week.
much as players, competitive players, will tell you that it doesn't matter if you win or lose, they all want to win.
Oh, yeah. It's like, I want to have fun. It's like, yeah, League of Legends is about fun. Winning is fun, right? And you look better when you win, just naturally.
Certainly do. And again, something that teams will be looking for, although, as we've mentioned, it's not the whole story, certainly, as Cloud pick up yet another Drake here. Cloud number 2 is going to come out. They also took mid-outer after that exchange, and Aetherius will get top lane as well. So all of a sudden, game kind of bouncing back and forth. They had the kill lead for a while, lost it as Cloud had some nice collapses of their own, but now they're up about 2,000 gold with a good map lead, down 2 Drakes, of course. But should be happy with their position right now as the game is kind of bouncing back and forth.
Yep. And now is when you look at the win conditions for these teams, where I'm looking at this Rumble, Urgot, Camille, and the Kaisa. I feel like the plan is Obese Panda has to hook shot in, Hextech ultimatum somebody, you put the Rumble ultimate on top of him, you put the Shen ultimate on him as he's trying to jump in, and you go for a backline dive. Well, Ocean have the Nocturne ult with the mask that. They have this Alistar that can disengage. They have this big meat wall of the Mundo in the top lane, and then you have this massive amount of burst damage that can come through. And I feel like just the win condition here is much more clear for Ocean.
Long gank there in the bot side. Here's Shen also coming in to turn it back around. Metaphor now gonna have to run, gets taunted. He's gonna eat the Harpoon as well, but now Jurassic here in the 2v2. 5-5 too low from the earlier changes. Dive again, gonna dive the turret. Looks for 5-5, they will get him after the ignite from Ali. And now Winter getting chased. Diamond, he pops the ulti. He wants to chase them all down here, but maybe a little too far forward. He's gonna have to buy some more time. Pulverizes Winter, who tries to drag the blade through for the slow and does land the follow-up taunt. Metaphor, in the meantime, is working on the turret. And that will leave Winter with not enough space to kill the support.
Yep, and good play there. Once again from Diamond, who's roaming all around the map now because of the lane phase getting opened up. And there's another turret dropping down. That's 3 for Ocean. They have all those outers down. That's going to give more room for Diamond to work here. And alongside Metaphor, who has that really high kill participation right now. This is the type of game you were expecting from somebody like Metaphor, from his reputation in solo queue.
Yep, very aggressive player and on a very aggressive champion. So it looks like he and the support have been teaming up to try and put this game firmly in their hands. Obese Panda actually roams down here to finish off the Rift Herald. Does collect the 25 gold, but the second charge did deal damage to that turret in the bot lane. And again, Ocean now with the outer ring felled, continue to play up and aggressive. This is kind of the perfect situation for Nocturne Alistar, because when you can open up the map and just pick people off in side lanes, real easy to get advantages from there.
Yeah, you just have to worry about the Shen and where the Shen is going to be. But other than that, I feel like the win condition for Cloud is very narrow. Their wave clear is almost non-existent. It's so hard to wave clear with the Urgot, the Kai'Sa, and the Rumble. Whereas, how are you ever going to get towards a turret where all Victor has to do is walk up and not even really be in range of hook shot almost barely, because it's just got such a massive range? It just leaves very narrow opportunities for Cloud to retaliate. And you'll see right here.
Yeah, again, another counter engage. Two-man pulp into the Nocturne ultimate. Seems to be the Ocean special. Winter getting low from the calling, but isn't going to fall just yet. Now Jenkins caught out of position for the rest of Cloud, trying to collapse as the fight splits up. But again, back and forth. Winter goes down. Julian with a big ult is able to pick up a ton of bursts as Diamond looks for Sopper Sage, who is forced to flash away.
That's still Ocean, though. Just rolling over them. That's 2 kills. The Baron is on the board at 21.5 minutes, and they killed the jungler. Obese Panda is down, and they don't have the Shen ultimate to even get him back in here when he comes back up. This will be a strictly 3v5.
It's a very small window, but no ulti here from Rumble. Not a whole lot for them to try and use. They peel off, they look for the kill. They're going to get down Jenkins. They are going to kill him. Now Fire eats the briefcase. Not done here. There is going to keep chasing, but Fire jukes the next one.
Yeah, looks like a bit of slight miscommunication there where Mundo lands the briefcase. People don't want to follow up exactly. And so everybody's going for a recall. It's a recall timing here. And now Metaphor 4-0-5 on this Nocturne. You always have to worry about falling off a little bit, but he didn't go for a lethality build. It looks like he's going for a little bit more in the tank department here, a little more in the bruiser department. But Diamond, again, starting these fights off right. Another headbutt pulverized. Previously, it was the flash headbutt, or the headbutt flash to catch 2 people in the previous fight. He's been starting all of these off on the right foot in the mid game.
And I think, from a lot of the games we've seen from Ocean earlier in the week, Metaphor has certainly been trying to make things happen for his team, but it was a struggle in the top side for quite a while. I think in this game, this is the example of when, he is unable to kind of help the rest of his team. It's weird as a jungler to play with more supportive solo lanes, but I think both Julian and Atheras do fall more into that category. Julian's done a great job surviving a lot of early pressure on the Victor and then really supporting a lot of these fights. But it is Metaphor and Diamond that are getting everything done, and finally a game where they're able to shine.
Yeah,
has to feel good on the final day.
It's an interesting thought as well where Metaphor is a player that he probably pairs better with a really aggressive laner. So if you pair him up with somebody who is able to kind of just be up in the opponent's face, like you're thinking of your Hoonies, or even like Fake God here in who plays for Mountain, and you'll be seeing later. Somebody who's aggressive in lane, he might pair better with them because he has a lane to play off of. Whereas right here, you had kind of a Victor that was behind, and then you had a Mundo that's just going to be beaten up by this Urgot during the whole parts of the early game. So he doesn't really have anywhere he can play and has to find opportunities. It's definitely one of the harder situations to be in as a jungler. And look at this, going after the Victor. Julian.
Fight. Looks like that Rumble might die, but I think Julian also with a stop is going to buy enough time. The shield keeps him alive for just a few seconds longer. But now a 2v3, never mind 3v3 as Mundo roams in there as well. Good taunt there in onto Jurassic, but he needs to live. Put into the meat grinder though by Jenkins, and that will turn the fight maybe back around. Winter, he's still running in towards the top, but I have to body block and can't quite do it. Mundo just going where he pleases, going to dive in and under between 2 turrets. Jenkins will live. My goodness, Ocean really kind of brute forcing their way through Cloud.
Yeah, and like we had said earlier, the way you're able to get on this team is hook shot in, Hextech ultimatum, hopefully have a Shen ultimate on top of it or something. They try to kill Julian because he's the one that you gotta kill here. He's so hard to reach, and if you can't kill him in the initial engagement, it's going to be so hard to turn these fights around. And then right here, the meat grinder, able to get the fear off, but then slows himself with the purge. And you guys run past, come back here. That's the one where you're like blocking somebody in Pop Warner football, and the guy just like pushes you to the side. What are you doing? That happened to me like 5 times, man. Flashbacks.
Well, unfortunately, not a lot that either Winter or you could have done in that case. Jurassic and Metaphor over the top into Cloud Drake number 3.
Yep. Now this one will go over to Ocean this time, though. Having control of it.
Ruining our storyline.
Kind of cycling the Drakes, and then there's Infernal, because you can't have more than 3 of the same Drake in the game. And so Diamond, I feel like, okay, yeah, it's like as soon as he saw that ward come over the wall, I was like, nope, abandon that idea. Atheris has to back on the bottom side of the map, 5-0 on this window. He's able to survive that lane phase. And now, Ocean, even though it's a 3K gold advantage for them, they're down 1 Drake. It still feels like the control of the game because of their wave clear and some of the levels that they have right now, where it's a 2-level difference in mid with Julian being up. It's just a much easier game for them to execute on. I feel like when we talked about this Julian versus 5Fire matchup in the mid lane, it is coming down to that in Champion, and there is Diamond again!
Yeah, another 2-man pulse there into the Nocturne ulti, but hasn't quite pulled the trigger yet. 5Fire down though, finally to Metaphor. Is he going to chase in over? Winter tries to find the taunt. Stop for Sage, again gets caught by the next pulse combo into the gravity field. A double kill there for Metaphor, make it 3 as he nabs a triple. That's going to be an easy Baron here for Ocean.
That was a great start there by Diamond again. This guy just keeps making these fights happen and getting multi-man knockups on the exact people he needs to. But Obese Panda, can he steal this? This is the Scouting Grounds play. This is the play where it's like, can he make it in? Drastic's gonna see him, Lucian on him.
Yeah, that's Obese Panda. Likely dead. He misses the hook shot. Absolutely dead now. And that will mean the hopes of a Baron steal are gone as Diamond was chasing Winter out from under the area. 5 Barons for each member of Ocean as they'll recall back and try and close this game.
I'll be completely honest, as the jungler, you never expect the AD to be the one that comes after you, but we'll see. Right here, watch Diamond. He gets the knockup on the 2 squishiest people, 5Fire and Sophist Sage. So Sophist Sage is now in full retreat, and he has to avoid that Victor ultimate. And 5Fire just gets blown up from the follow-up CC. Diamond has the headbutt pulverize up again. Flash headbutt pulv onto 2, who then gets sucked into the gravity field. Just the synergy that he has with Julian in these fights is just making it so easy. And then, of course, all the kills are going over to Metaphor here. He's getting spoon-fed 7-1 and 6 on this. He did his due diligence in the early parts of the game. Now he's picking up these kills and staying ahead of the curve.
And again, I think Julian complementing a lot of these plays really well. Again, he's very much a consummate control mage player, right? But he's being set up well by his support, by his jungle. Everyone's kind of doing their job as another fight's going to start. Cloud going to try and go down swinging, but they may just fall straight to the ground. Obese Panda dead to Jurassic. Another big pulve off to the gravity field is going to mean a wipe and a game here over to Ocean. Sage going to kite out what he can, but I think the Baron cannon finishes him off. More than enough time to run down towards the Nexus. If this won't be game, it's going to be close.
Yeah, they're going to be able to push this down. They've got 25 seconds on pretty much anybody who could come up and stop them. This one is in the bags here, Pastry Time.
Certainly looks like it. We'll see if some sort of miracle will expound, but Mundo running forward in the ulti in celebration, but also to tank up the turrets just a few moments earlier. Ocean got those early kills. Thought they might be at the whim of Cloud's collapses and aggression, but they will take the first Nexus of the series.
And a great display there from Julian to come back from the early parts of the game. There is a bit of that worry there from him being down in CS. And then also Diamond played those fights, those skirmishes at the very beginning of the game well. He was not the one who went down. It was Jurassic who got focused. Diamond survived, and then he made almost all of the starts of the plays alongside Metaphor in that later part of the game.
Yeah, I think early game, as it often does belonging to junglers there, Obese Panda tried a lot of different ganks. A lot of his early engages did look good, but Metaphor with that first ulti that got a kill, it felt like everyone after that yielded something, if not a kill.
Yeah, and it felt like he kind of played for composition there. The Camille coming in, and I think he went 0-7 in that game overall. Wasn't able to accomplish a whole lot, and they were playing for having something with the Shen to start these fights off because it looked like a very narrow win condition once they had the Urgot and the Rumble. So, you know, when you look at the play, they played the very early parts of the game before Killstar rolling in well. It was that Rift Herald snafu that let the game get away from them there.
Certainly did. Well, for more on that victory, we are going to send it over to the analysts.
Thank you very much, Pastry. Yeah, let's talk about this one. Ocean Drake picking up their 4th game win of the entire tournament. Yeah, 3-12 coming in, and now they've got themselves their 4th win. So this is looking at least a little bit better. They are showing up on the day. That's always important to be, doing well on stage. Team comps here. Victor going into the mid lane. Rumble mid is interesting as well. But I know one thing that I heard you guys talk about was with the Kai'Sa in the bottom lane, the scaling advantage looked really good for Cloud.
Yeah, so Ocean first pick Alistar, and they go Alistar Lucian, super like lane dominant champs, and Cloud opted into Kai'Sa in the 1-2, so they ended up still losing the lane as Alistar Lucian. I don't think that's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the way things goes, and Kai'Sa had like a big lead, but you'll see later. But I think they just played too fast, and then Lucian somehow got back in the game. But Yeah.
I can understand why they wanted to play a little fast too, because on the side of Ocean, they have a pretty much entirely scaling top side of the map where you have a Mundo and a Victor, as well as a Nocturne who's going to be able to hop in. So Nocturne got a bunch of kills early on. Maybe they're concerned that the Mundo becomes unkillable, and they wanted to take their early game lead and try and use it a little bit more. But to your point, you can't just like suddenly be like, all right, let's take fights and win, because we have Kaisa who got out of lane pretty well.
Yeah, I think it was the fight at like Herald. It just kind of like completely changed the momentum of the game. So it's obviously it's hindsight to be like, oh, don't take that fight. But how they're feeling in game, they felt confident. But
yeah. Well, we do have a replay package to show, including the Herald fight as part of it here. So this is the first take in the mid lane that Julian turns around pretty nicely.
And this was after some other attempts mid by Obese Panda, and he was able to get a CS lead for the Rumble, but then that kind of threw that away. There was the bot lane plays we were talking about, and then this is the Rift Herald fight that at the time, Cloud had a small advantage in, but they have to be clean. You see Obese Panda using his hook shot there, not actually turning on anyone, so that's down. And then slowly they get collapsed in by Ocean here, and eventually they're all in the pit against a Nocturne with a great engage by Diamond, who had them all game long, and they start getting AoE'd down, have to start running out.
And you're super far away, so he's like hitting front line like from behind them as well. So this top laner who's doing pretty well and got an early pick did nothing.
yeah, like the Nocturnal, like Urgot and Rumble were on the other side of the river there, and then Nocturnal just completely shut the vision there, and they just got wiped.
Yeah, that was a 3-0 Urgot at that point too, I think, who's like the strongest player in the game, not in the fight, and then they continue to go bad from there. They tried to set up this brush gank, but didn't really get a good turn on to anyone important. The Mundo obviously was the one who took most of the damage, which is perfect for the Mundo, and then it's a long chase down against the Victor, Nocturne, and Lucian. Like, obviously they're going to stay on top of you with the Mundo as well. Yeah. And then I wonder if we get the last team fight. Oh, we get it. This is the team fight we were talking about. If the game was going to end, we were taking bets on it. And for some reason, this is one of the things you're going to learn, Scouting Grounds players. Don't team fight randomly in the middle of the map over no objectives versus Baron buff team if you're trying to hold on to the game.
While down 7K.
Yeah.
While down 7K. Yeah.
I mean, that's one way to lose a game. We're saying like, oh, it's going to be like 35 minutes. Oh, wait, it's over in the next minute.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah, I said it was going to take like it was going to take the second Baron. Like before the first Baron was going down, I was like, yeah, they had only cracked the outer turrets, right? Like Ocean starting to win, they'd crack the outer turrets. Okay, they're up like 4K or 3K, like that's fine. They'll do their Baron setup and they'll crack it and hit. And that's like what happens in the LCS. And they got the Baron set up, and then, Cloud hits to them in the middle of mid lane.
Yeah.
Like I said, they might lose if they fight at tier 2, because that's like the normal rookie mistake is you fight at tier 2, which you can't ever take. Instead, they fight at the rubble of tier 1. It's like, okay, that's a yikes.
They had great river vision, though, before that fight.
They took the scuttle. They got themselves 120 gold back, but yeah. So that one fell out pretty quickly. 28 minutes, we're seeing some fairly fast games because I think, holding on from behind is difficult. One of the very first things I heard someone at Scouting Grounds say in person was just like, just open. Just like as a joke, like not about the game, but we're making some joke about something random. He's like, just open. And like that's just so much the vernacular of like playing Challenger solo queue. They're like, if you're behind, game's over. So playing from behind, not the biggest skill.
No, I mean it's actually something that's pretty hard to learn. I think about like how to find your openings from then on. It's something every player struggles with. Even like once you turn pro, like a lot of teams get blown out as soon as things go wrong. Part of that might be scrim culture, who knows, but it's something that, especially coming from solo queue, like you don't really know how to play as a coordinated 5-man team from behind.
Yeah, I think it goes into a case like for Ocean or Cloud, like they had to lead that game. Like I think they were favored to win for, like they got out of lane versus Lucian Alistair, but probably in their heads like, oh, we need to keep making plays. They did that Herald where it wasn't like correctly like set up and they were like 50-50. And then like in game, it feels weird because sometimes you want to like keep making plays, but sometimes you just need to chill out, like let your Kaiser get items. So it's like the mindset of these players, like in game.
Sure, and it's always interesting as well seeing skill sets transition because in solo queue you're playing by yourself, whatever. Like everyone's just being monkeys, and you get your farm, and you try to get your kills. You play something like this, and you've actually got to make calls, like to say, hey, I want to dive this guy. Like there was a fight in bottom lane where Diamond's Alistair like gets a flank kill, and they can like 2v1 as Alistair Lucian with Alistair ult up like against a support Shen. Like that champion is going to die. But I don't know if like Diamond didn't call it or if his teammate didn't hear it, but just like Jurassic backs off, and it's like, but you could just do the thing.
Yeah, it's NA solo queue with just comms. I mean, obviously there's 4 teams, like the coaches and stuff. It's unrealistic to be like, oh, like we're a great team after a week. Yeah. Because it's just solo queue with comms at the end of the day. But
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is a lot of these guys probably haven't played on stage before, and even though it's not like you're playing for a prize pool or anything right now, it's still like just being on that stage is a totally different environment than you've probably played your whole entire life in.
Yeah,
you can
for
probably
sure.
attest to that transition.
I remember my first time on stage a couple months ago. I mean, I'm looking at these players play on stage. I want to be there, but you know, like being on stage is like some people are going to be really nervous. Some people aren't. Some people like rise to the occasion. But I mean, it's like that's what coaches are there for. It's like they want to see like how you like basically day to day how you are like in a team environment and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So of course we'll have more from these players taking a quick break, but when we return, it's game 2 between Ocean and Cloud. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the 2018 Scouting Grounds.
The stun cleanse, now the flash forward, but the Aussie and Rumble going to cut off the escape. Plays bit of running forward, but Julian, he actually gets the first blood. Obese Panda tank too many turret shots. Hold on. Yeah, Obese Panda just checks something. Rightly so, he's going to get out with the ulti. That's so much damage!
And look at this, going after the victor, Julian.
Fight. Looks like that Rumble might die, but I think Julian also with a stop. He's going to buy enough time.
You're okay?
Eddie,
Yeah, big stun. Get Baron.
Go, guys, Baron.
They still smite, they still smite, they smite, they smite.
But they may just fall straight to the ground. Obese Panda dead. Jurassic, another big pull buff to the gravity field is going to mean a wipe and a game here over to Ocean.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy that I was given another chance. I did play for a Golden Guardians Academy a couple of months ago. So knowing that there's another opportunity like Scouting Grounds for me to play and showcase the talent that I have and to showcase people, kind of show them that, you know, I never stop working on the things that I need to work on, and to kind of show them that, you know, even though I did get removed from Golden Guards Academy, that it wasn't going to stop me from, you know, pursuing this, which is to eventually become one of the best AD carries from North America.
And with that, welcome back to the 2018 Scouting Grounds. The teams are readying up on stage for round 2 between Ocean and Cloud. Which Drake do you think should win in an Elemental Drake fight?
Well, probably Ocean, because I just don't like Cloud. As a jungler, I actively avoid the Cloud Drake. Even though I know that it's statistically good and blah, 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 it's like I still just do not care about it as much. It's one of the ones where I'm like, there is probably a better thing for me to do in the game.
Well, luckily for you, Ocean are up 1-0 in the series so far. As you mentioned a few times, it has not been the best week for the team as far as record goes, but now to 4 game wins total, and would love to grab a series win here to finish off the week on a high.
Yeah, it would be the way to kind of cap off the experience of Scouting Grounds for these guys. But at the same time, there were some great standout players here. Julian, Diamond in particular, and Metaphor also had a really good game here. And Jurassic is the one that we just heard there in that clip before the game. And he's kind of looking for redemption for the whole Golden Guardians Academy thing, where he was at the bottom of Academy. That was the 10th place team. I believe they went 4-14 overall, 10th dead last. And he's saying he still wants to be a pro. It's, you know, you get knocked down multiple times. You just have to get up one more time that you get knocked down. And this is him getting up right now saying, hey, even though we are 0-6, we still want to win this. He still wants to show off. He had an okay performance on the Lucian, 2 deaths early, 3 total in the game, so didn't let the mid game get away from him.
We'll see what happens here in the draft though, because Akali and Cannon will once again be banned by Ocean, and Aurelia will be back for another ban here on Cloud side, as teams have actually stayed at the same sides as well. But Victor is going to be the new one there. Makes sense, very strong champion, can be flexed in 2 lanes. Julian looked good on it there. And I think in general, knocking your opponents off comfort is always a good thing. I would personally like to see Julian play something other than a control mage. But we'll see what happens here as Braum, once again, the ban there from Ocean.
Yep, and then it was Thresh and Xayah that were the other ones here. Because you picked up the ban on the Victor, you can only ban one of them. Question is, will it be the Xayah? And so, yes, it will. They don't want to give Jurassic that safety and allow them to be able to go after him in fights.
Does feel like maybe something like Alistar is the easy first pickup here, though. Although we'll see what they decide to do.
Yeah, because of the fact that there isn't a Thresh ban this time, there isn't as high of a priority on Alistar. So you're okay with picking something else here and not just going straight for that champion.
And as you said, priority shifts. So Lucian is actually the first pick overall. So still a bot side pick, or bot lane pick, I should say, but taking the other one and see if Jurassic can have a different performance on the Lucian, although, as you said, was just fine in game number 1.
Wow.
But there is the Alistar for Cloud, and I wonder if they are going to complete their bot lane here, depending on what they want to do with pick number 2. If Sophisei just gets off the Kai'Sa, says, you know what, give me something that I can make some more plays and be more aggressive early with.
Yeah, I don't know if you take that here. Maybe you potentially go for something like the Urgot and flex it. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing to go for.
Makes sense. So there is the Urgot there for Cloud. We'll see how the rest of the matchups shake out here, as Ocean are now back on the board with their next 2 picks to come.
If you want to go jungler and maybe Thresh, that could be a route, or Thresh and a flex pick. I think Thresh and a flex pick, maybe Aatrox if you want to put it top or mid.
Yeah, so Aatrox is the one that jumps to mind as far as like, this is the other flex pick we've been seeing a lot of. We saw a ton of it with Aatrox Urgot at Worlds, and I feel like those 2 champions have only developed since that time. Victor, of course, is added to that list, but he is banned in this game.
Yeah, I just don't know how much these 2 guys are actually like Aatrox players is the thing. So the Camille for Metaphor, or could be top lane Camille, still a flex pick. Picked up here for the team. Yeah, so it doesn't give away a lot of information, and this means Cloud, they could go ahead and pick their jungler here if they wanted, or they could mismatch, pick their mid laner like a Syndra, and then go throw some bans towards counters.
Well, only 2 seconds left to pick up this champion. It will actually just be a jungle trade, interestingly. So Camille and Nocturne once again, but swapping up players for these champions this go around.
Yeah, I would say that the Camille is a little bit harder to execute on. She ends up being doesn't have the same engage range, even though her engage range is quite long. She can take over a game and has better scaling. If she gets behind, it's very difficult for a Camille to get back into the game.
Feels like the risk is higher, but the reward may be much higher there as well, as Galio actually going to get banned away. So breaking up Camille Galio, Julian has also played a lot of Galio in his career, so we'll just take that one away. And there's a Sivir ban, taking some ADs away from Sopha Sage.
I also like the Sivir ban here because it's a wave clear marksman, which would have actually kind of rounded the composition out for them last game. And it may have been a retro point where they're like, we had a Rumble and an Urgot. We needed something else there. And the Kai'Sa wasn't doing it for them. So I like the fact that the Sivir ban pops up here from Ocean.
And there's Syndra, another mid laner taken away.
Probably means that they're going to pick their mid laner last here on the side of Cloud. They don't want you to be able to counter with a Syndra, or I guess blind pick a Syndra here and feel good into almost all matchups, or then have the Galio with your Camille, like you had said earlier, Pastry. So it just seems like they're probably going to pick their marksman here. Varus jumps to mind. I believe there's also Kai'Sa still available.
Yeah. Interesting to see Ezreal taken away. Kind of the safer marksmen there in the bot lane have kind of been moved off the board. It does mean Kai'Sa, though, still up, and Sopha Sage says, you know what, last game, just an oopsie here and there. Comfortable on the champion, we'll take it once again.
Yep, Kai'Sa, no problems with that, but also better alongside the Alistar, because you'll apply 2 points of Plasma with the Headbutt and the Pulverize and start your combos off right. And Echo, actually, pretty good pick. You can actually flex it top or mid if you want to.
Certainly can.
But...
Okay.
Well,
still a flex pick. Lissandra there.
Yep, flexible while you think a little bit more.
Yeah, again, you know what? Maybe that's just a good panic pick, you know? Just pick a flex pick. We'll figure it out. Give me 20 more seconds.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's what it comes down to, and you have to figure out who wants this, what's a better pick here as you discuss. And double flex pick.
Ooh.
Which I think is good because you don't know what Cloud's going to pick as their last pick. So they have to pick something that's good both into Lissandra or Aatrox here because they'll just swap the lanes up on you. But the same thing is, if Cloud picks something that's flexible themselves, they could just go ahead and start flexing too. But I don't feel like there's that many champions left that can play both top and mid.
Yeah, I think they've kind of all been taken away.
Kennen's gone, Victor's gone, Aurelia's gone, Camille is not really a mid laner.
I mean, I think you just said one of the only ones left is Echo, but I don't know if Echo's... I mean, he's fine. He's not good into... All right,
there's the other one. we didn't consider the obvious one. The one from last game. Oh, no. Okay. Well, I'll see where this one goes, because you have 20 seconds on the clock. When it hits 20, you can't swap anymore. I feel like you want the Aatrox into the Rumble because you can just actually just blast him and he can't really get away from you. So yeah, they're swapping there. Wait, let's see. This might be one of those trigger finger ones, like who goes at 22 seconds, who goes it back? This is the mechanics of the swapping. And they're locked in. You do have the Aatrox into the Rumble.
Okay, so did want it for top lane. After all, Julian back on control mid duty with Lissandra. But I think, as you said, as far as matchups goes, this is kind of the thing that makes the most sense. And interesting to see Firefire. I mean, Rumble, Urgot, Rumble's certainly not a champion you expect to see very often in mid lane. Urgot is, but not every player is willing to play at mid lane. Certainly a champion you must learn as a mid laner is quite different from a lot of the other champions. So if nothing else, credit to him for willing to play, you know, some more offbeat picks and willing to learn more to give his team more options here in draft.
And I actually think that last game was an example of that too for Firefire.
Yes,
where he's displaying the flexibility, he's saying, I'll play the Rumble here. I actually think that Jenkins is by far the better Rumble player. Bob Jenkins pretty much, he was playing the Kennen, the Gnar, the Rumble. He'll play the mages in the top lane and the range champions. It's right up his alley. I don't think it's the same thing for Firefire in the mid lane. So on a champion, a little better for him, but also Jenkins now on a better champion for him as well.
Just listed all Season 1 top laners, by the way. Rumble and
That's true.
have been around forever.
That's true.
I was going to make the joke that the last time we saw Rumble mid, Europe and NA didn't share a champion pool. That's how far back you have to go. It was basically at the first Worlds where Europe and NA like finally met up, and he was like, hey, you're supposed to play with support marksman bottom, and NA's like,
what is
oh,
this?
I didn't know that.
No way.
Only one player was willing to be like, I think Rumble mid's good. And it was amazing, apparently.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good at the time. What?
That's how far back you have to go
Back
for
in
me
the
to
day,
remember Rumble Mid.
When we had, I mean, that was 7 years ago.
It was a very long time ago.
Oh my lord. Okay. I don't want to think about getting
I'm
old.
impressed
Anyway.
that you, as a young upstart caster, can remember that far back, Sarian. That impresses me.
Man, I'm 28, man. There are people in this game that are literally a decade younger than me. All right, anyway, regardless. We're talking about these young guys here who have just like pretty much started to get to that point where they're like, I want to start a League of Legends career. Some of them are coming right out of high school. Some of them, even like Obese Panda, he was like, I need to finish college and then come in and try to give it his all. It's one of those things where if you don't try it and you're really good at it, you'll regret it. So I feel like this is where he's saying, I need to throw down and show what I'm made of. And after that game where he just went 0-7 up against Metaphor, he's going to have a much better performance here on this Nocturne, which is not a level 2 ganking champion. So he's going to have to route and hope that Metaphor doesn't go for some clever pathing here and catch him off guard.
Yeah, still his champion as well. So always fun to see reverse matchups getting played, especially right after the other.
Camille.
Up, has the sweeper coming down the bot lane. I've seen this a few times. Maybe just checking for some crab protection. Nope, this is a full-on gank.
And there's the all clear.
And so they just play it safe, play back. Don't want to walk themselves into a threshold call.
I feel like Diamond might have actually given that up a little bit by walking too far forward. It does give them control of the wave because they now see him actually doing the scuttle crab. He's gonna pick that one up. Whereas, meanwhile, Obese Panda, he actually is going for a red into Krugs, into going for looking towards the top side, but he's gonna go for the second scuttle. So now you can't kind of do the same thing here.
Yeah, no double scuttle this time around. I think Metaphor is realizing that. Looks like there is a ward. Not sure who it is. Not sure if they can see just yet. Actually, Obese Panda is all clear here on the Scuttle Crab, so he'll just take that one out solo. But Metaphor at least realizing enough to go invade and take down some jungle instead, as the first hook from Diamond will just miss.
Yep. Goes for the hook right before they hit level 2. And Sophus Sage actually zoned away from the experience a bit. You can see just that difference in the matchup there. And we have this large CS advantage for the Lucian for Jurassic, who I don't expect them to get as aggressive as they did last game, where they went aggressive, they blew all 4 summoner spells, and then it just blew up in their face when they got visited by an Obese Panda later.
That's a nice hook there from Diamond. Double play as well. Aftershock procs, Winter counters with a Pulverize. To come out pretty much on top of the trade until that happened.
Throughout the W, though, got a little bit of a counter, and now here comes Metaphor.
Actually going for a tower dive here, level 3. Super Sage already getting down. There's the Ignite looking good. Hookshot's gonna miss. Sage is dead, though. Jurassic able to grab the first blood. And now TP's down. They're gonna dive in with the Aatrox. He's already taken up the turret. He gets the kill as well.
That was really well done there from the side of Ocean. They just had a really great coordinated dive on the bottom side there. That started off with, they got that hook, they got that chip damage, the minion wave is underneath the turret, and you can even see just the difference in CS is massive right now between Jurassic and Sophus Sage. This is what they're trying to go for when you have this Lucian matchup. You need to kill him early. That's exactly what they're able to accomplish here.
Yep, looks like even another wave gonna get denied here, so we'll watch this dive once more.
Yeah, and watch for the turret aggro here. Walks up, doesn't get the aggro yet. The Ignite comes down so that Diamond gets it first, and then they get out of range, burning the flashes. And I like how Metaphor hook shot to the wall, knew he was gonna panic and couldn't just stand there, and waited for the flash. So Metaphor still has his own, so he can go for a hook shot, flash, repeat gank, or go to a different lane.
See what happens here, but again, TP quickly in there from the top lane up. Doesn't even give up that much, as goes back and is even the CS here. Looks like both Firefire and Jenkins couldn't find a TP angle they liked. So despite a lot of global pressure, Ocean commit very hard to a dive, and it works out well.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you need when you have that Camille. We're talking about how an Obese Panda didn't have a really good game last game, but it's the difference where the Camille's level 2 and 3 is so potent compared to the Nocturne, who wants to farm for level 6. So an Obese Panda, a kind of quiet early game is better for the Nocturne, but the Camille, he's already making noise.
Ooh, Winsett trying to block the Lantern, but not able to quite get there. So a little late back to lane here for Diamond, who I think was off warding. It's going to mean Jurassic fell, kind of even the CS back up a bit.
Yeah, and the funny thing about Diamond on this Thresh, it just gives me kind of flashbacks to multiple years ago, even like 2014, 2015, when he was playing for TSM Darkness, and the Challenger Series was I remember there were a whole bunch of just Thresh one-trick supports coming up. That was the age of like Ramelia coming up, Tsutsuro, that was Sheep, that was Bunny Fufu, right? All these guys, and then there was like Diamond in there as well. I think it was Kabigon at the time, who was constantly playing this Thresh and was like, who can out-Thresh the other person?
Yeah.
Who gets it this time, right? I think Hakuo also a little bit after that too.
Yep.
Just a lot of Thresh supports, and now he's back on this champion here. I believe one of his favorite champions from years ago.
If you ever played Thresh when Thresh came out, Thresh is one of your favorite champions.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
kind of how it works.
Yeah, but you had to be a good Thresh player too, and it's not just one that's good at hooking. You have to be able to, know your position. Where are you in a lantern position? Are you in a hook position? If you're in a flay position, and when to be in each one, because by the time you need to be in a lantern position, you needed to have thought you would have been in it. You needed to think that you were going to have to be in it, because otherwise, if you're going for that play and walking forward, you're of no use in terms of lantern escape position.
Well, this play again, basically a repeat as Julian also roaming down with level 6. Metaphor commits for the flash. Julian in onto Diamond. There's the ulti down. That's Winter Deck with no ult. Easy pickup there as Diamond actually collects the last hit. They also grab the turret. So Ocean continuing to hammer this bot lane.
And Ocean just coming up huge here. Sometimes, you go 0-6, but then there's a stage boost that you get when you're live right on that LCS stage. And you can see right here, they're being very aggressive. I think a lot of this is off the back of Metaphor and the Lucian that Jurassic has, where he's able to push the lane and they're able to capitalize off it. We talked about how Metaphor, I think he's somebody who plays better with more aggressive laners. And now he's playing off the bottom side of the map, which is exactly where he's finding his success.
Yeah, he found the aggressive lane. It just happened to be bot lane, which is maybe the atypical thing when you consider how generally junglers and laners pair up.
Well, and you think about what happened at Worlds, too, where people thought it was going to be a bot lane meta, then it became like Xayah, Sivir, just a lot of trading and a lot of just kind of not looking at those lanes and paying attention to solo lanes. It became a solo lane metagame for a lot of Worlds. And honestly, this is completely different here, where you're playing off of this Lucian, this aggressive laner. It's a bit of a, I would say, a departure from what we were seeing just a month ago.
Certainly a departure from what Ocean have been playing earlier in the week as well. Oh, that was so sick! Fire finds Metaphor, pops off as well. That's got to be the worst feeling in the world. Guy doing your Raptors.
Call me Ishmael. That was amazing. Oh, man. You just sees him from so far away. I love that. That was great.
People don't appreciate just how long-range Urgot's ulti is. Because usually you just get him in melee range, right?
Yeah.
And everyone piles in and they get executed, and that's how it works out. But what a snipe there from Five Fires. Looks like we have a rotation as well. Ocean are going to move their dual lane up to the top lane, but Cloud matching. It's a 4v2 right now here in the top lane.
That is probably my favorite ultimate Urgot kill that I have ever seen.
And it's so good, we're going to watch it again.
It's because he just has a ward over there, and he's doing the Raptors. Man the harpoons, pulls them in, grinds them up, taunts them down. Oh, let's go.
Notice the damage there as well. Like, level 1 Urgot especially, the execute range is pretty low.
Yeah.
So clearly knew that Metaphor was going to die.
Yeah.
Makes it look real good on the back.
I believe it's always 25%, but hold on. Metaphor not there.
Uh-oh, that's going to be a kill here. Diamond dead to Sopha's Sage. As, again, Nocturne able to turn his ulti on and find a kill. Roaming to the midsection though, Julian with the ulti. There's some knock up there from Aatrox, and it should be a relatively straightforward chase. Chains do not latch though, so Firefire will get away.
Yep, Firefire gets away, and he's going to stay here, even though Metaphor is not near him, to go for a gank and try to get a kill on top of it. So Beast Panda went ulti to the top side, blew that, and there's just pretty much people blowing ultis left and right. The pressure and the focus is pretty much all over the place. And that's interesting because normally teams have one unified goal, but it just seems like multiple points at the same time. It's almost like 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s happening, or 2-on-3s happening and 1-on-2s, where people have to just react accordingly constantly. So I'm surprised the game is not bloodier than it is with only 5 kills, but that's because people are just getting away from a lot of these.
We'll see Ocean, see if they can keep pressing their advantage. They're almost up 2,000 gold actually.
And the Infernal on top of it.
First turret helping out. Again, sweeping around. Metaphor here helping out his buddies, Jurassic and Diamond. Looks like Winter and Sage should be safe enough. They've actually got a Beast Panda in the back pocket as well, but no ulti for a while. Nocturne's ult cooldown pretty long. But you can clearly see where the attention is being paid to this game.
Yeah, the bottom lane, which is now in the top. And then the Rift Herald now. So it's an objective to pick up the neutral objective here. And you can see Five Fire rotating over.
Ghost Ignite.
Yeah, see if he, yeah, he wards in, so they know what's going on here, but they just don't have a way to do it, because you can see Jenkins' TP just came off of cooldown here. They wanted to de-aggro, they want to reset. And Metaphor, I think he has a decent amount of gold here. Yeah, 2 long swords, picks that up. I think it's the Tiamat into getting just the warrior enchant.
Whatever it was, Cloud actually do get them off the Rift Herald, curiously enough.
Yeah.
So no committal there, despite the strong position there from Ocean. The Beast Panda has also been up here for a while, and his ult's about to come back off cooldown.
Yep, it's off now.
This is a long con here for this gank in the top lane.
And you can see where Diamond is standing, right? He's like, yo, I gotta go over here. I'm gonna go ward. Urgot left mid lane. I don't know what's going on.
Kind of 2 answers, right? Either I'm getting lane ganked, or someone's about to tower dive me. Or perhaps one into the other. Although the wards will spot them grouping up here.
Yep, it's a good ward. Oh.
All right, looks like they'll just lose blue buff instead, which isn't so bad.
Yep, not bad. They gotta watch out for mid lane though. I'm gonna go clear this out, prepare this area with the Scuttle Crab, and as well as getting rid of some of those wards. Remember, it's a long lane, bottom lane with that turret down, so this gives a lot of room for the Aatrox to push, and this puts pressure on Five Fire. We've seen it already where all he has to do, Aetheris, has to push and then go mid over and over again. And in case people don't know, Aetheris, if you've been watching League of Legends for a while now...
since Rumble was mid, since one.
Pretty much. Formerly went by the name of Flares, played for Enemy, played for Sin in the OPL. So he does have LCS experience. I believe he's the only person in Scouting Grounds
that is correct,
who has LCS experience. And he's that top laner who a lot of people were saying, like, you know, they don't need to pick him up early in the draft because he's a known quantity. People say they know his level, and that kind of old dogs can't learn new tricks. And that's why people like Fake God went first, because people don't know how good they are. And I feel like a lot of people think it's easier to just work with somebody new than it is to break people of old habits or bad habits that they've had formulated over many years.
But again, this event is really about showcasing these players that are looking to either push themselves back or for the first time into the higher echelons of competitive play, and looking good here, you know, having a good week, talking to your coaches, the teammates that at least you have for a week. These are all things that add up when, you know, that season comes around and teams are looking, you know what, do we need some new players? Who do we want to pick up?
Exactly, and people will weigh different things. And like you said, Scouting Grounds is about those new people who are coming up. They played pretty much like semi-pro or amateur for like a year, half a year, however long. And then it's about those people who have been around for a while. Aetheris, even Winter, 3 Scouting Grounds. He's the only player who's been to all 3 Scouting Grounds is Winter. And he's one of those guys trying to prove that he has improved. But honestly, making 3 Scouting Grounds means you've been at the top of solo queue for 3 years in a row.
You're certainly consistent, if nothing else. This is the paranoia from Nocturne trying to find a pick up, but no one really good to get. They actually do find Julian, but he's going to ult himself if he can try and make it. Does get it there. The Unstruck proc, and everybody piles back in. A decent ult there from Jenkins. Lindsay's burning down. He will get picked up by Jurassic. Camille lives, but not for too much longer as he's finally picked up by the Rumble, but it's just carnage in the team fight. Ocean again. We're going to ace Cloud.
An ace, a triple kill going over to Jurassic, who he said the Golden Guardians Academy kind of kicked off the team, wasn't going to demotivate him here. 4-0-3 on this Lucian here, having a great game where they've played to him and showed what he can do if you focus his lane.
Yep, they'll get a Rift Herald. Jurassic should be able to clean up the top outer turret here as well. Ocean once more snowballing very cleanly through this early game as they move into a very strong mid game for themselves. Gold lead looking about 4K right now. That will increase as they pick up their objectives, as somebody needs to grab the Herald.
Somebody. There's pings on it. I think they know it's there.
Yeah, it looks like just going to take the crab, and then Theoriz will pick it up. Not forgotten.
Yep, has that Youmuu's Ghostblade too, something that we've been seeing a lot of Aatrox ultimates into Ghostblade to get into the fight quickly. Speed yourself over there. But here, Obese Panda looking for the engage. Looks like he's clicking on the Lissandra, goes in. Julian gets the ulti himself, and then it's the counter. It's the flip in there. And then you have this gigantic fight where there's so much damage that comes in from Aetheris with those final Qs on multiple people there. And it's just the cleanup. Just so much damage comes across. It's this big cluster that happens once again.
Aatrox is a surprisingly potent frontliner. He's not tanky, don't get me wrong, but
having a bit of extra life with that ulti, usually enough with your damage to clean up the back end of the fights if you need to. So certainly does a good tank impression sometimes.
Yeah.
With World Ender.
And he went for early CDR too, having the Youmuu's Ghostblade and the Kindle Gem. So when he gets in there, he's able to cycle through his Qs, and he's mostly for burst. Winter goes in.
Another dive here. Winter gonna get lock up Diamond, excuse me, who does fall down to Jenkins, but 2 ultimates thrown into the mix to make sure that kill happens.
Yeah, and the question is, what do you get off of that? They're gonna have to be able to pressure this mid turret, but Julian is coming up. He's a decent amount of their wave clear. And then Sophis Sage onto Jurassic, who also is able to just push them off this wave. Means they don't really get too much for it. It's just a kill in the bag with some assists on the back, and that's it. But this 4,000 gold lead is something that they're gonna struggle to overcome, because once again, it's another composition that lacks wave clear. They have exactly the same three carries that they did in the previous game. Just one of them has swapped from mid to top.
You can see Ocean again grouping back up. Looks like Julian is going to swap more permanently here to the bot side of the map. There is still the mid outer turret for Ocean to take, and they do have the Rift Herald. It is, however, on their top laner, which isn't usually the slot it occupies.
Yeah, but he's been able to just push these waves out, and there hasn't been much that Jenkins or Firefire can say about it. I think Firefire will stand a little bit of a better chance against him as opposed to the Rumble that's been struggling. We've even seen the Rumble has gone for Ninja Tabai here because there's just so much armor that he needs to build up, because it's a 3 armor, 3 physical damage threat composition here. And a lot of people don't consider Lissandra to be very high in terms of damage. She can deal a lot. She's a lot of CC, but a lot of people don't really respect it too much at Firefire.
Yeah, 2v2 here. Firefire locked up by Metaphor. Was baited to try and stop Shelly, but Shelly on a rampage takes down that first turret in mid. Now going to look for the tier 2. Ocean might even commit to some sort of dive here, but can't quite get positioned for turret damage. Instead, they'll transition down to the bottom half of the map and attack this tier 2 instead.
Whoa, all right, just putting down wards. So that's an aggressive play there from Aetheris. Even though Firefire is down and he knows that it's a 4v5, you'd have to worry about something like a Nocturne ultimate coming down. And I feel like he trusts the mobility of the Aatrox with the E.
See, Jenkins also commits the ulti. That's the best wave clear on the Cloud Drake side, but unfortunately is not available most of the time.
Yeah, it means the fallback pattern for this composition is just almost non-existent. You have to wait for a Kai'Sa to scale, but the way you get to scale is delaying with wave clear, and I feel like that's just not something this composition has. So it's funny because we're at Scouting Grounds and it's supposed to be focused on the players, but I think this composition is just one that does lack a way to get back into the game, especially versus Ocean, where Julian, I think he's been really kind of the, I want to say the catalyst for, being somebody who can get them back into the game if they need to, just like in the last game with the Victor, or keep them in the game with his wave clear and control mages. So he hasn't had to show anything really like outside of his wheelhouse, because his wheelhouse is actually perfect for what they want to accomplish.
Yeah, it's, again, not too surprising to me that Ocean, kind of on the final day, feel like they've put the pieces together for a team that may have been tricky to figure out what to do when you have more passive solo laners and a very aggressive jungler.
Yeah, I completely agree, because Metaphor, 100% KP right now, same as Diamond, who they're number 1 right now, tied for it, but it's just he's been doing so much work here on this Camille. He played it correctly during the early parts, almost got a gank off bottom, which gave them pressure, went around, and then he just was able to get the blue and go straight for a dive, level 3, level 4, and the team came together as a team, because you want to look good as an individual, but a lot of the times in professional play, you'll look good as an individual when your focus is on how the team is going to operate, not just yourself.
This is the thing that I know matters a lot to players that are watching, these players that we can't hear. That's, how are you communicating in the game? For a lot of these players, you heard it from Auto on the desk. It's just kind of like playing solo queue, but you can talk to each other, right? Which is not really a big step. You have a lot to learn when you start playing more as a team, more at these higher levels about how, to play the map and talk to each other. It's communication so important. We can't hear how these players are talking, but I can promise you, the coaches and teams that are looking at these players are listening very intently to how these players are talking, no matter the game situation.
Yeah, and I would also say like a week is not enough time to work out any sort of system, so I would assume people are just pretty much talking about what they want to do, what they're able to do, unless you have this magic combo where one person is a really adamant shot caller and smart about the game, and the others are just going to follow up.
Diving again, Winter after the Nocturne ulti. We saw that combo last time, but again, Ocean going to turn it back around for the counterattack. Sophis locked up by Metaphor, completely out of position, to be honest, as Firefire is going to try and get somebody down. A good three-man route there from Julian. He's going to try and buy more time as he does. Manage to pick up Winter, and here's the Aatrox finally. Better late than never. He's going to clean up the back end of the fight. It's only one dead on the side of Ocean, and once again, another ace is being chased by Ocean. Nice knock up there. Better knock up there to follow through. Now Diamond going to try and get him. He grabs the hook. He gets the play, and there's the ace for Ocean.
Wait, don't block him. Don't block him.
Oh, goodbye, friend.
Oh, Diamond goes down, but
a true support to the end.
Yeah, they got the turret on top of that too, but that is once again another ace there for Ocean. 8,000 gold lead for him. This team came out 0-6, Cloud 3-3. Cloud brought down Team Mountain yesterday, which was a completely unexpected upset, and one of the teams that people were considering one of the best that came out of Scouting Grounds. But Ocean here, a team at the very bottom, coming up huge here. I like that. The roll away from Metaphor. Winter gets in, but then Sophist, he used his ultimate to get to the back line, and that's a no-no up against Julian on that Lissandra. He finds him even through the ultimate from Nocturne and just points, clicks, presses the R, and then it's completely turned around here. There's some low health bars, but they just can't get them low enough for the Urgot ultimate. They can't get them low enough so that they can actually clean up this fight. And then, like you said, comes in from the side, and then sometimes you're the support, but your team needs to support you. There's so many other places to stand.
I think he also knew that, you know, if I walk right, I probably just live. So having some fun with it. Diamond at least managed to complete the ace as Ocean back down to the bot side because namesake Drake is up and ready to be collected. Looks like Metaphor will start that objective. Inhibitor still stands in the top half as well, so Cloud can hold on to that, but Ocean have built almost 8,000 gold ahead at this stage of the game.
Yeah, they're doing quite a good job here today, and it's going to be so hard for Cloud to get back in. Jenkins doesn't have wave clear. You see him kind of throwing down the ultimate, which gives them large windows where they can't really fight objectives. Rumble ultimate is a huge part of the composition, and every time they use it for wave clear, it just kind of puts a damper on what they can actually contest afterwards.
Yeah, and the inverse, of course, is if you can't play defensively to let your scalers hit their points, then you have to do the opposite. You must play aggressively and try and get gold that way, and at least if you trade and don't lose too much, you're getting something. But as pointed out, that's very difficult strategy when you're behind, because every time it goes wrong, you only get further behind.
Yeah, you playing safe is dependent on what the enemy is doing at the same time. That is up in the top lane, by the way. There it is.
Julian in a 1v2. Oh, that's be 1v3. So my friend just gets shot down there by Fire. So again, good gold to collect.
Yep, picks him up and... Oh.
Metaphor again, finds the ulti.
They're leaving him.
Aatrox going to try and cut the rest of them off. Yep, that's one dead. They're going to try and grab more here. Winter going to get played back around. The Beast Panda should live, but Zoffa said can't get in there. He's going to leave Winter out to dry. The Jurassic picks up a double kill, and this inhibitor will likely be forfeit as well.
Yep, that inhibitor, but that's 2 people dead as well on the side of Cloud. I don't know if they'll push. I think they're going to back up, potentially look at picking up the red on the way out, because they saw it, and then they might go for that that Baron on top of it. I wonder, because Julian does have teleport, but it does look like a recall is coming in here for Jurassic.
Yep, they've got the gold. They need to go back, reset, and spend. They did get the Ocean as well. It's actually, they were walking from the Dragon Pit back up to the top lane to complete that little sequence. Panda is trying to get some vision back down on the bot side of the map, but Cloud have so little room to work with. Again, when the map's open, Nocturne's so happy because you can just pick off side laners. Julian gave them one opening in the long lane in top, but not going to get too many more.
It's an opening, but like, is it really an opening? That's the question that I'd like to ask, because this is something that happens in chess all the time. You're like, ha, I got your bishop, but oh, you lost a bishop and a knight in return. It's like, it's not worth it because you shouldn't have gone for that play in the first place. They shouldn't have had to dedicate 3 people to go that far and kill him. Sure, you got the piece, but you're gonna lose way more for that because you went for it. And that's exactly what happened here, is they're now out of position. They didn't have the rotational advantage, and you can see that Sophist, Sage, and Jenkins, it takes them so long to even get towards that area that they have almost nothing to do with that fight.
Yep, not a good traded material at all for Cloud. Julian going in, Proto Belt. Oh, good kick out there from Winter with a headbutt. And there's a Nocturne defensively, but it does save them as they will back away towards the mid-tier 2. Drops though. Aetherius is getting aggressive, but you can afford it when you're 4-0-5.
Yeah.
And your champion doesn't die when you hit ulti.
Had the same thing in the last game with the Dr. Mundo. playing some champions that he can go ahead and run around on and feel okay. And well,
Diamond's over there. Everyone's going over. Apparently not interested in the Baron at all.
Yeah, nobody interested in his lantern either. It was like, throws a lantern back after flashing. Everybody just uses their own move block to get over. Right now, they just need to wait for the top wave to crash in. So what's happening is Jurassic controls mid wave. Top wave is just going to have super minions and crash in. You can see Jenkins has to take care of it. And Sophus Sage getting 1v1 here by Jurassic. And Obese Panda does not have that ultimate from before when he used it defensively.
Yep, and again, they're trying to get in and get something done. Julian over the wall, but Fire also now going to get cut off here by Jurassic, who dashes forward. He's going to try and pick up the kill here. Heal gets burned, but Aethera's over the top. Forces the flash from Sophus Sage, a trade that's likely worth it. Given the situation they're in, they'll regen with Ocean, they'll run back to the objective and keep baiting Cloud into the area.
Yeah, this may mean that Fire has to TP back in or take care of the super minions. There's the TP. He's TP flanking, but they're going to be able to either collapse on him.
Mistimes that slightly, but Julian gets forward there with the root. Top what's popped there. Fire though forced to flash, still gets clipped by the Glacial Prison, and that's going to be a kill over. It takes a while, but Diamond claims yet another one here, as Jenkins also forced to flash away, but Urgot's still chasing. Well done, that gives you so much move speed. And now he's just going to try and force Jenkins to fight him, but not a fight that the Rumble can maybe win. He's overheated. Actually, the chain didn't land. Julian, he's trying to flank around. Jenkins, he might be able to pick up a kill, but Diamond again secures the kill.
Yep. 4, 3, and 12 for your Thresh. Playing quite well today overall for Diamond. And that's going to be another turret, whereas that top side of the map, there's super minions that are looking at that Nexus turret. It's very, very low right now. There's the TP that's going to be coming out to get them back up there. It's going to be Aethera's coming through.
Yep, just committing again to trying to take the maximum number of structures here on this push. No Baron, but power play was long enough that they're able to take at least the bottom inhibitor turret, and they do want an inhib if they can get it. Fire, he's going to get caught in the chains. It looks like enough members of Cloud here to defend. Means that no other inhibitor will be felled.
And this might be just a recall here, or yeah, recall into Infernal Drake. Everybody just, you can clearly tell what's happened with Ocean is somebody, coach has said, you guys need to stop goofing off after you do something. Everybody needs to recall, reset at the same time. There's two things about resetting at the same time. One, you leave this very big window where there's nobody out on the map and they have to capitalize immediately if they're the enemy team, like rush a Baron or something, but they have to do it very decisively. So teams that are kind of put together in a week, not that decisive, not able to pull the trigger on those types of plays, but it means that they also all get back out on the map at the same time and can fight immediately. Kind of take care of everything at once. You see Julian gets his blue, and you can see the Infernal Drake ready for that one to come up here. And he has teleport, so he can go for another recall here and not really risk anything. But yeah, you can definitely tell that they went for recalls at the same time. And also control boards once again.
Yeah, Julian actually recalled for 2 control boards, so they're really looking at this Baron here.
Scouting grounds.
Julian will clear out the control board in the backside of the pit, and they don't own the speed train, unfortunately for them. So we'll have to wait, but have some time here. Top inhib has respawned, so Ocean will move here through the red side jungle, see if they can't find a straggler.
Yeah, I also love that Jurassic has Merc Treads, and he had 2 control wards, so him also contributing to vision as the marksman. They usually actually have the lowest ward scores in pretty much the entire game, because you want to just buy items all the time. But the Merc Tread's on top of it too. Pretty much for the Rumble, not really any hard CC that he has to worry about too much. There's the hook, there's the engage, there's the turn.
Trinket, but that's going to be Fire locked off. He's pretty tanky, popped a stone plate, but Julian's still able to get the kill, and back to Baron we go.
Not tanky enough, apparently.
Not at all.
Normally, they get like a Righteous Glory, but not in this matchup. And then went for the Gargoyle Stone Plate. 2, 6, and 1 on this Urgot has been so hard for him. And like we said, Fire having to stretch his champion pool, the Rumble, the Urgot in the last 2 games, neither have been very convincing here, but look at that.
That's a good ult from Jenkins. Again, Paranoia going to try and defense here, but everyone's going to dive in there. Obese Panda looking for it, but Jurassic goes godlike, does not get picked off as Julian into stasis to buy even more time. But again, Sophus Sage still alive. That's actually going to be a few more kills. Ocean, a little split. Jurassic dies as well.
It's an ace.
And now Cloud, they get the ace. They're onto the Baron.
Yeah, they almost killed the Aatrox. Sorry, he had a tiny bit of HP left here. I don't know if he can actually do anything about this, though. He's so low. It would have to be a miracle for him to even contest this.
Probably died once, given that he doesn't have ulti, but that means he cannot contest at all. Even with Panda dead, both junglers not around me. That is Baron over to Cloud, and all of a sudden the game turns back around.
Wow. And so they're gonna have this gigantic Baron for themselves on the side of Cloud Drake. They don't have their inhibitor down on the top side, so they can just go ahead and push waves out normally. But watch this. Ultimate comes across, slows Metaphor. Jurassic takes so much damage, so he can't really help in this fight. Then there's the ultimate from Nocturne to kind of shadow everything, and Jurassic has to flash away and heal before he's even done any damage in this fight. And he's one of the people who has some of the most gold on this team, and he gets, I believe, 2 autos off in this whole entire fight because he's zoned off by the Rumble ultimate, and when he comes back in, it's the ultimate from the Nocturne that comes in too.
Yep, see the damage there. Not able to commit that much to the team fight. So now Cloud with the Baron, they still have a very big mountain to climb as far as gold goes, but you know, you got to get the Kai'Sa to the late game somehow, and with 3 items and counting, actually a QSS also finished now for Sopha Sage. Cloud are at least in a position to try and claw their way back into this game.
Yeah, there was some great shutdown gold that came through there. That was 850 gold going over to the Rumble and 600 gold going over to the Kai'Sa. Actually, he got 2 kills, and the total value of those 2 was 1,050 gold. He got a shutdown on both the Thresh and the Camille. And then, of course, the Lucian shutdown. So between those 3 kills, that was 1,900 gold from 3 kills, which are normally only worth 900.
Well, certainly, again, a good way to keep yourselves in this game and even maybe be in a position to start attacking. Certainly with the Baron, out of turret should be relatively trivial to take.
Yep, you don't have to worry about the Lysandra wave clear as much when you have that Baron. It actually allows you an opportunity to siege. 5 fire, caught out again.
Does get his way out there. Dashes out, but does have to use the move. I believe it's called Disdain.
The move.
I think it's called Disdain.
Look at the moves.
Look at the move. There's Cloud, again, just trying to slowly siege these down. Looks like Aetheria's in the top lane. No TP, but he's almost there. Just going to get the wave pushing back the other way so they don't lose more, but Cloud pretty firmly securing mid lane here. Going to try and knock this down as well. Julian looking for the engage. Doesn't pull the trigger on the claw.
Yeah, they have to go ahead and use this Baron, this last minute of it, to get as many mid-turrets as they can, because that'll allow them to rotate to the sides, and that's just been their biggest issue, is they didn't get any of the turrets. It was 0 to 8 in turrets before that Baron went down. And it's because the wave clear, the lost lane on the bottom side and swapping it around the map, just means that Cloud have been on the defensive the whole time, and then they found that opportunity during the Baron when Ocean were trying to force an objective.
Certainly have been contained, but finally breaking out as they will go back, spend their gold, and with Baron kind of phasing out in these next 30 seconds, not a whole lot left for Cloud to do. So Ocean gonna have to rethink their strategy moving in towards this end game, because it's starting to look a little worrisome with the carries charging up here for Cloud.
Yeah, I don't think they have to be incredibly worried, but like you said, it's not that same bravado that they had just a moment ago. It's going to be shove the mid, get the Ocean Drake, because you still have better team fight. Go towards the top side afterwards, but right now it looks like Cloud are going to say, let's go for that top push. They don't need that top turret, and they're moving Jenkins over because they have Baron control. They just don't have Ocean control. Drake control, and there's 2 open inhibitors actually. So yeah, go to the bottom side here. Thought it would be top, but this makes way more sense because Ocean Drake is up.
Oh, good hook. Fi gonna take some poke, pop the stone plate, but he's already at 50% HP. Again, another pretty defensive Nocturne ulti, the redemption down. Gives him a lot of extra health as Winter will fall. Jurassic, he needs to stay alive, but somebody got put into fear beyond death. Now gonna resurrect, I believe it was the Aatrox that might have got popped. No, never mind, he's up the top there killing Sopha Sage. So that was not the one who got taken. But they do live through. The Ogodot does not claim a kill, and now Ocean moving in for the victory here.
Yeah, he was able to get Metaphor, who had the GA, and then doesn't matter, but look at this last-ditch effort.
Yeah, trying to defend, but it's not enough. Ocean just realized we need to group push and end the game. There's the ace, there's the Nexus going down, and Ocean will find redemption on the final day. 2-0 to claim third here at Scouting Grounds.
And that just has to be a huge sigh of relief for these guys, because the 0-6 look like a gigantic blemish on a lot of these guys' kind of records coming in here, where we're talking about Metaphor, a lot of hype around him, comes in, delivers in these final 2 games, able to play off the bottom lane with Jurassic and Diamond, and they're able to find their win here. And everybody did step up too. Atheris, a deathless game for him here on the Aatrox, was able to use the open lane to continue pressuring mid and make 5fire have an awful game. And Julian, same thing from him. The control mage showing up, having to play and being able to play that style. Didn't have to show a whole lot more than kind of the normal book from him here.
And you know what? If there's a lot of other things, like we said, that go into, you know, how you're considered, that are just very invisible, or at least that we don't get an opportunity to really see. But, you know, playing in your wheelhouse, playing comfortably, looking good, that is important at the end of the day. So players will be happy. Ocean will not finish in 4th. Perhaps the most important thing is that Team Liquid's team will not finish in 4th place here at Scouting Grounds.
Seemed inevitable, but the 0-6 just gets you in terms of seeding to the group stage, or the knockout stage, and right here, finish in 3rd, hold their heads high. But really, I think a lot of these guys, the sigh of relief of having at least some really good games to show here to people who are looking to pick up some talent.
And of course, again, they've had a whole week to play. There's plenty of other footage for teams to watch depending on who they are scouting here. But, I mean, just looking at jungle, I mean, you said it, Beast Panda was drafted just above Metaphor, which for most people was not the expectation.
Yeah.
I think Metaphor this game is like, hey, I'm the better jungler. Watch this tape.
Yeah, and people were saying that Metaphor was getting a bit out-jungled, and when I watched the games, I wasn't exactly what I thought was happening. I thought that he didn't have the same pressure from either solo laner, and he seems like somebody who likes to play off of those types of lanes very early, but he showed the flexibility being able to play off of bottom side and to play an early jungler and swap the matchup too, because they picked the Camille when Nocturne was still up, said they would rather have this jungler, even though he had a great Nocturne game before. It just felt like something where they were ready to just throw down the gauntlet and say, I can play this matchup, the opposite side of it, and show you what I'm supposed to do. Level 3, level 4 turret dive works out perfectly for them with the coordination, and it all came together from the composition as well, I would say.
Yeah, you think about that. Whoever organized that dive is maybe the player you start looking at, right? Because whoever calls, hey, this is a situation we can go in, really well executed there to give Ocean the snowball. But for more on that victory, we are going to send it over to Overly for an interview with Team Ocean's Diamond.
Thanks, Pastry. Diamond, we weren't sure if we were going to see Team Ocean leave with a win today, but you pulled it off. How did you lead this team to their first series win?
Well, I wasn't sure we're going to win either, but we managed to pull it off. I think we just didn't have anything to lose anymore. We just stayed calm and we managed to pull it off. So pretty proud of my team for doing that.
And you have 3 members on your team, a part of Polar Ace, who have kind of played competitively pretty regularly. So how did it affect the team dynamic with you coming in as like the new kid to the team?
Obviously, there was a void left because since like the 2 players that are supposed to have the most energy in, like the support and their jungler were missing, it was kind of hard to fill that void. And at first, I was trying to put myself too much into them. I think I was like trying to be much of a bigger voice than I should be, and I think they affected the team really badly at first. But then we found like our voice and everything, and it went really well after that.
And over the entire week, you have had access to professional organizations, coaches, and their staff members, and throughout the week, learning from them. What was the biggest lesson that they had taught you?
I think at first we were trying to go too in depth in things, and we were trying to go too hard on and like try to do things that were like when you don't have the core mechanics of the game, like you can't execute well. And we just went back to basics. And Dodo's a really good coach, and Case is really good as well, and Sojin, they helped us a lot. Hermes as well. They all helped us a lot. And I'm sorry if I forgot anyone, but they're really good help, and they made us really become something when at the beginning we were just not good at all.
We have Team Mountain and Team Infernal loading in behind us. Is there anything that you learned from the players competing here?
Yeah, don't give Ivern to Fragus. He's the Bedoink machine. And I think Fragus is just going 1v9. He's faker on the Rift.
And last question for you. What are your hopes for your competitive career next year?
Well, I hope teams look at me and think that I'm a well-rounded player and that I can show up, and I hope they give me a try. So.
Well, fingers crossed to see you play next year. Thank you again. That's it for us here. Back to the desk.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Avali, and thank you, fellow David, who is Diamond, by the way. So yeah, I mean, definitely a surprising result here, Team Ocean 2-0. They had only won 3 individual games coming into this one, and they beat a team that 2-0'd in matches. So that was pretty impressive.
I think this team had a lot of skill, and a lot of their solo laners were players who had high highs and low lows. And I think you kind of heard Diamond saying that they felt pressure, and like today they felt like they had nothing to lose, so to speak. And so that might have helped alleviate some of the stress that some of these guys were having, because they really stepped up the solo laners as well as the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy they end up on a win. I mean, COG's coaching these guys for Team Ocean. They went 0-6, but at least they end Scouting Grounds on like a high note. I think also for this game, they looked like a lot cleaner. I remember I was walking in, I was watching some of their scrims, like, I think it's just like, yeah, nothing to lose. Like your mindset when you have like nothing to lose and you're on stage, like you just let loose, you just do plays, and it's a lot more fun like that.
Yep, and overall, of course, we see the comps down at the bottom of the screen where you've got the Lucian coming back in for some lane aggression. This time around, actually, they win lane by a lot. Diamond on Thresh instead of the Alistar was the big change there, and I mean, they really destroyed bot lane.
Yeah, it was like, it was split map. I think also Metaphor is a good contributor. Like he dove bottom and stuff. Like I think the way they play around this bot lane compared to last game is like, wow, it's like really good improvement.
Yeah, I think the overall bot lane situation was the same, but they picked a lot more active top side of the map so they can make more aggressive plays. It's not to say it was all perfect, because the enemy did answer back. Nice snipe over the wall by 5.
Oh, that's tilting.
But this is after the bot lane had already gotten completely steamrolled, and that was mostly because they played around it correctly. And this time, instead of a Victor and a Mundo, now you have an Aatrox and Lissandra who can actually follow up on plays well. So they're a lot stronger in the early game when these 5v5s break out.
I think this fight in specific, like Lissandra buys so much time. I think this fight, they just had a better collapse, and they just played the team fight better overall.
Yeah. You blow out a CC and Aftershock List who, hits W, stays invincible, hits ult, stays invincible, comes back out, and by that point the team's re-engaged and normal ult's timed out. So that was definitely really nice. And yeah, unfortunately for Cloud, they just couldn't find great engagement. This play, by the way, watch Kai'Sa, flayed. I don't know if that was on purpose, but like Flay is instant cast and he's on land, so like theoretically, like there is a way he like read that, but either way, actually the sickest play I've seen in forever.
And this is another good play by Julian on Lissandra, going in and distracting the 3 backline members instead of allowing them to continue to chase onto the Lucian, buys a lot of space, and eventually the Aatrox was able to collapse as well, turn that one around. Good play. There were some hiccups, okay?
Yes. For sure.
I think we completely skipped over the Baron throw that happened at the end of the game.
It was gonna be, they were gonna get no turrets if they didn't throw there for a little bit, but they ended up getting mid turret. But I mean, they ended up coming back, even though. But overall, it's still a pretty solid game, I'd say.
Yeah, Jurassic in that Baron play that didn't work out was a big 7-0 Lucian who couldn't contribute to the fight. That time around there, you see hopping the wall, getting involved, and actually pumping out that damage highest in the game. Oh, wait, no.
I think
Rumble beats him a little bit.
Yeah, Rumble's got him by 600, but... Yep. But it does signal the end of Scouting Grounds for both these teams, so I want to kind of move on to talking about the 10 players here who put out 7 best-of-3s throughout the last 4 days now. This one, of course, played out on stage, on camera. The other ones were back in the practice rooms that the LCS players normally use. So kind of thoughts on the 10 of these players and what they did this week?
I think for me, I think Metaphor was a person, he played on MLGB with Duo King, and I think for him, he was pretty hyped up going into the Scouting Grounds. I think overall, I think he played pretty well today for these sets, but I think a lot of it with jungling, it's, at least from solo queue to competitive, it's not like, oh, I play Kayn, I'm gonna go Shadow Form and just 11-0. That's not how competitive works. So I think for sure the junglers, especially like Metaphor and Panda, it was like fun seeing them because solo queue is like, jungler is like a carry role almost, but in competitive, it's like you're there to enable laners, you need to communicate, it's like a lot different.
I think for me, I'd have to go with Diamond. Not only did he have a great Thresh game there that we saw, but also his Alistar game in the first game, he found a lot of really impressive headbutt pulverizes, and there was one skirmish in the early game where if they won it a little bit harder and actually killed the Kai'Sa, they might have been able to snowball that game as well. But I thought in both games, he was a large factor in the laning phase and in team fights.
Yeah, the one player I want to pitch in for is Obese Panda on Cloud. Even though they got 2 out, I thought he had good games both times. I liked his Camila a lot. I thought he had some good ganks, some good pressure, but of course the whole team couldn't quite put it all together. Either way, some fun matches. Of course, we have more to go, so more action coming your way very soon. Team Mountain and Inferno will hit the Rift as we go up for our last best-of-3 of this wonderful, I don't know, tournament? Whatever it is, of this event of Scouting Grounds 2018. Don't touch that browser.
Surface Sage already getting down. There's the Ignite looking good. Hogshot's gonna miss. Sage is dead though. Jurassic able to grab the first blood. And now TP's down. They're gonna dive in with the Aatrox. Already taking up the turret.
I got him. Nice.
Fighting.
A decent ult there from Jenkins. Lindsay's burning down. He will get picked up by Jurassic. Camille lives, but not for too much longer. He's finally picked up by the Rumble, but it's just carnage in the team fight.
Come here.
You guys win.
I'm flashing up. She's dead. Got him.
You guys can now going to resurrect. I believe it was the Aatrox that might have got popped. No, never mind. He's up the top there, killing Sufficade. Notion will find redemption on the final day, 2-0.
Those cravens backstabbed me, deceived me. Never shall I tolerate their crimes again. Now let the hunt begin. Yeah. 7,000 souls scared and daunted, such a tale of woe. Not too long ago, this village was a golden scene of hope. There's way more to avenge. Whoa! 50 million souls live in this realm without much hope. Not too long ago, this kingdom was a golden state of hope. Yeah!
Welcome back to the 2018 Scouting Grounds, where the two best performing teams of the event are about to face off. So let's look at who we expect to make a difference in this best of three here for the championship.